Chapter 1746. 10th Brother, what's wrong? The Golden Crow Ninth Prince also looked at Lu Ming. Nothing, I just met an ant. I'll find a chance to deal with it myself. The Golden Crow 10th Prince said. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince nodded and did not say anything else. Su Ran, it's you. Ha, I didn't expect a trash like you to come to Jade Pool. Suddenly, a disdainful voice sounded behind Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and Su Ran turned back and saw a purple-robed youth with his hands behind his back. He was looking at Su Ran with contempt. Tuoba Fei, you're here too. Su Ran's face darkened. Of course I'm here. I'm destined to be the Tao protector of Jade Pool. But you, a trash who isn't even a heaven spirit body, came to Jade Pool. Do you want to be a Tao protector too? You're really a toad lusting after a swan's meat. Why don't you look at yourself in your piss? Tuoba Fei sneered and his disdain deepened. Su Ran's face flushed red and was extremely ugly. He wanted to refute, but his talent was indeed far inferior to the other party, and he could not do so. Su Ran, what's going on? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Su Ran. This person is a paragon of an emperor-level force and is close to Blood Jade Palace. The two forces often have conflicts. Su Ran gave a simple explanation. Lu Ming understood immediately. It was obvious that Blood Jade Palace and Tuoba Fei's force had a grudge against each other. Now that they met, Tuoba Fei would naturally take the initiative to attack Su Ran. What's wrong? Why aren't you talking? Am I wrong? A trash who isn't even a heaven spirit body should stay in Blood Jade Palace obediently. You'll only embarrass yourself in the ancient moon, sacred ground. Tuoba Fei continued to sneer. Su Ran clenched his fists, and the veins on his face throbbed. He wanted to fight the other party and wash away his shame, but he knew very well that he was no match for the other party. Where did this mad dog come from? It's annoying to hear him barking here. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke indifferently. Su Ran was slightly stunned. As for Tuoba Fei, his face darkened and his eyes narrowed as he looked at Lu Ming. Kid, who are you calling a mad dog? I'm talking about who? Lu Ming smiled. A cold, murderous intent flashed in Tuoba Fei's eyes as he said, Kid, do you know that you have to pay a price for saying certain words? Some prices are beyond your ability to bear. The mad dog is about to bite. Lu Ming said indifferently, Brat, you're courting death. Tuoba Fei's eyes turned even colder. He took a step forward and a powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Great success of Bright Saint. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Tuoba Fei's cultivation had reached the great mastery of the Bright Saint realm, and he had the heaven's spiritual body. No wonder he was so arrogant and didn't put Su Ran in his eyes. If he was in the Tsang state, he could easily crush a godson. Jade Lake has appeared. Suddenly, a cry of surprise spread throughout the entire area. Wang! Ripples appeared in the sky as a magnificent palace appeared out of nowhere. The palaces were endless, as if they were floating in the void. Apart from the palaces at the front that could be seen clearly, the palaces at the back were blurry, as if they were immortal palaces. Jade Lake had another name, the Jade Lake Immortal Palace. The appearance of the Jade Lake Immortal Palace attracted everyone's attention, including Tuoba Fei's. Kid, I'll let you go for now, Tuoba Fei said coldly as he glanced at the Jade Lake Immortal Palace. Lu Ming let out a faint smile. At that instant, the door of the Jade Lake Immortal Palace opened, and a woman in a palace robe walked out. The woman seemed to be in her 40s, but she was still attractive and had a graceful figure. She must have been a beauty when she was young. The Saintess of the Jade Lake has appeared today. Thank you all for coming. The woman's voice echoed throughout the area. I'm sure you all know that the Saintess of the Jade Lake has the intention of choosing a protector to support each other in the future. Of course, whether you can become a protector or not depends on your own fate. The woman in the palace robe continued. None of the geniuses made a sound. They waited patiently. They were waiting for the Saintess of the Jade Lake to appear. There are 9 saintesses of the Jade Lake in this generation. I'll let them come out now." The woman in the palace robe waved her hand, and ripples appeared in the sky again. Then pavilions appeared out of nowhere and floated in the air. In each pavilion there was a jade table with dishes and wine placed on top of it. Beside each jade table sat a peerlessly beautiful woman. 9 pavilions, 9 jade tables, 9 beauties. Each of them was as beautiful as a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. Each of them had a different temperament. So beautiful, not far away, Tuobafe's eyes were wide open, and there was a burning flame in his eyes. Not only him, but many others were the same. The saintesses of the Jade Lake were indeed beautiful. Each of them was a rare beauty in the world. What was even rarer was that each of the saintesses of the Jade Lake had rare martial arts talent and a high cultivation level. However, what surprised Lu Ming was not the beauty of the 9 saintesses. Although the 9 saintesses were beautiful, Xian Yinqing was definitely better than them. What surprised Lu Ming was their talents. All of them were heavenly spiritual bodies. This shocked Lu Ming. Some emperor-level forces did not even have a heavenly spiritual body. However, the Jade Lake Divine Palace had 9 of them, and each of them was a rare beauty. Is this the power of the ancient moon, sacred ground? It's amazing, Lu Ming muttered. 9 pavilions, 9 saintesses. Today, whoever can climb to the top of the pavilion will be able to drink wine and discuss martial arts with the saintesses of the Jade Lake. The woman in the palace robe spoke again, and many people's eyes shone with passion. There were only 9 pavilions and 9 beauties, but there were so many geniuses present. Not only could one climb to the top of the pavilion to drink with the beauties, but it was also an honor. "Who is willing to come up here to drink wine with my sister?" A crisp voice rang out from the first pavilion. The woman beside the jade table stood up and waved her hand. A jade ladder extended from the pavilion and landed on the lake. "Haha, then let me go first." Wan Tianlong, the genius of the Wan clan, stepped out and landed on the jade ladder. He then walked up the jade ladder. Many people's eyes fell on Wan Tianlong, including the 2 princes of the Golden Crow clan, the geniuses of the Thunder God sect, the Great Baron Sword sect, and the other powerful forces of the ancient moon, sacred ground. However, these geniuses did not move. There were 9 pavilions, so they were not in a hurry. "Humph, I've also taken a liking to this pavilion. Please go down." A deep voice sounded. Near Lu Ming and the rest, a young man with fiery red hair took a step forward and landed on the jade ladder. His entire body was emitting terrifying flames. "Get lost." Wan Tianlong's eyes shone coldly. A light spot lit up in his palm, and a great sage weapon battle sword appeared. He slashed at the red-haired youth. Raging flames burned the sky. Chapter 1747. The fiery-haired young man's combat strength was terrifying. His cultivation had reached the great success stage of the Bright Saint realm, and he had an inferior heaven's spiritual body. What surprised Lu Ming even more was that the young man had used a divine power art. Such a peerless genius from an emperor-level force was terrifying. He had comprehended a divine power art at the great success stage of the Bright Saint realm. In the Tsang state, many old monsters who had reached the great success stage of the Bright Saint realm for tens of thousands of years had yet to comprehend a divine power art. Although such a genius had the same cultivation as the God Sun, he could kill the God Sun in one move. Boom! Wan Tianlong's battle sword slashed the fiery light pillar, causing a terrifying vibration. The fiery-haired young man's body shook, and he was forced to retreat. "You dare to use a divine power art at 10% completion against me? You're overestimating yourself." Wan Tianlong said coldly. Light spots lit up on his body. There were a total of 36 light spots, and a saint weapon flew out from each light spot. However, they were all bright saint weapons. In addition to his previous great saint weapon, there were a total of 37 saint weapons. The chi of the battle weapons gathered forming a terrifying sword chi that slashed towards the fiery-haired young man. The fiery-haired young man roared and used a divine power art again, blasting out a fiery pillar. However, this time, the fiery pillar was split apart by the sword chi. The sword chi did not stop and continued to slash towards the fiery-haired young man. The fiery-haired young man was shocked, and he quickly retreated. However, it was too late. His body was split into two by the sword chi, and he turned into two balls of fire. He retreated quickly, and with great difficulty, he merged back into his human form. However, his face was pale and his aura was weak. Although his spiritual body was a flame spiritual body, he was still severely injured by the sword chi. Wan Tianlong sneered, and with the saint weapons around him, he continued to climb up the jade stairs. No one came forward to compete with Wan Tianlong. Wan Tianlong was too strong. The fiery-haired young man was already strong enough, but he was still unable to withstand Wan Tianlong's sword chi and was severely injured. Moreover, no one knew how much of Wan Tianlong's strength was used. Anyway, there were still 8 pavilions, and there was no need to compete with Wan Tianlong. Wan Tianlong successfully stepped onto the pavilion, and the jade stairs under the pavilion disappeared automatically. "Sir, please take a seat." The jade lake saintess in the pavilion smiled and poured wine for Wan Tianlong, personally making many people envious. "Saintess, please." Wan Tianlong waved his hand and sat down at the jade table with the jade lake saintess. At this moment, the jade lake saintess in the second pavilion stood up. She also waved her hand, and a jade ladder was formed. Which hero would like to come up and drink with this little sister? A pleasant voice rang out. "Let me accompany you for a drink." The genius of the thunder god sect smiled. His figure moved like a bolt of lightning. In the next moment, he appeared on the jade staircase, after which he swept his gaze in all directions and said, "Is there anyone who wants to compete with me? If not, then this cup of wine belongs to this lay. I'll take you on." A voice rang out as a genius stepped onto the jade staircase. At the same time, a spear light burst forth, piercing through the air and piercing towards the genius of the thunder god sect. This young man's battle prowess was definitely not weaker than the red-haired young man from before. Hand of lightning punishment. The genius of the thunder god sect struck out with his palm. Boundless lightning flashed, forming a gigantic lightning palm print that blasted towards the young man. Boom! The spear light shattered. The young man was unable to resist and was directly blasted down the jade staircase. His body was charred black, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. He was severely injured in one move. What terrifying battle prowess! Many people gasped in shock. Was this the strength of the genius of the ancient moon, sacred ground? His battle prowess was too strong. He could easily crush the geniuses of the other emperor-level forces. Their spiritual bodies are of the same level, but their cultivation is stronger. Their superpowers are more advanced. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. He could see that regardless of whether it was Wan Tianlong or the genius of the Thunder God sect, their cultivation had most likely reached the peak of the Bright Sage realm. Although their spiritual bodies were still inferior heaven spiritual bodies, their superpowers were more advanced. With a higher cultivation base, coupled with a more advanced Abhijna technique, he could easily crush the other prodigies. Many geniuses from the other emperor-level forces turned pale. If the geniuses of the ancient moon's sacred ground were all so powerful, what chance did they have? The genius of the Thunder God sect displayed his powerful strength. No one dared to compete with him. He stepped onto the pavilion easily and drank with the Jade Lake Saintess. Then the Saintess of the third pavilion formed a jade ladder, just like before. This time, with a flash of golden light, the Golden Crow Ninth Prince stepped onto the jade ladder. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince was extremely arrogant. He looked around and no one dared to challenge him. The Golden Crow clan was extremely powerful. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince's aura was oppressive. No one dared to challenge him. He stepped onto the third pavilion easily. Then, another genius of the ancient moon, Sacred Ground, stepped onto the fourth pavilion. This force was called the Ziji sect. The genius of the Ziji sect was also extremely powerful. He severely injured a genius who went up to compete with him in one move and stepped into the pavilion. Then, in the fifth pavilion, the youth with a battle sword on his back from the Great Baron Sword Sect stepped onto the jade ladder. I don't believe that the geniuses of the ancient moon, Sacred Ground, are all so powerful. This pavilion is mine. A youth shouted and rushed onto the jade ladder. He wanted to compete with the genius of the Great Baron Sword Sect. Clang! The sound of a sword rang out. Then, everyone saw a flash of sword light. Then, the youth who went up to compete frantically retreated until he was thousands of meters away. He stood motionless in midair. In the next moment, a bloody mark appeared between the youth's eyebrows. Then his body split into two and fell into the lake below, dead. A genius with a heavenly spiritual body was killed, just like that. Everyone only saw a flash of sword light. How terrifying! The genius of the Great Baron Sword Sect looked cold and expressionless. He stepped onto the platform. No one dared to compete with him. He successfully stepped into the pavilion. There were already 5 pavilions that had been occupied by people. Then the 6th and 7th pavilions were all occupied by the geniuses of the ancient moon, Sacred Ground. The geniuses of the Emperor-level forces outside the ancient moon, Sacred Ground, did not step onto any of the pavilions. At this moment, everyone's gazes were cast towards the last 2 pavilions. There were only 2 left. Moreover, almost all of the geniuses of the ancient moon, Sacred Ground, had stepped onto the pavilions. The remaining geniuses did not seem that strong. For example, the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow. When the jade ladder appeared on the 8th pavilion, a few figures rushed up at the same time. One of them was the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow. Scram! The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow was extremely domineering. His body was covered in the flames of the sun. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow was in the greater Bright Sage realm. You're the one who should scram. The others were not weak either. They unleashed their cultivation and fought with the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow. In an instant, they were evenly matched in the battle. Whoosh! 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 Then, another 5 or 6 figures rushed up the jade ladder. This made the battle even more intense. This was the most intense battle. The geniuses who had stepped onto the jade ladder were too strong. They completely suppressed the others and could not fight back. Chapter 1748. There are so many geniuses. Lu Ming was also watching. Any one of these geniuses could easily crush a god son. If they were in the Song continent, they would be able to suppress all the geniuses in the continent. However, there were a bunch of them here. This battle lasted for half an hour. In the end, a peak-bright Sacred Realm genius from outside the sacred grounds stepped onto the pavilion first. Although this genius cultivation had reached the peak-bright Sacred Realm, his battle strength was obviously weaker than Wan Tianlong and the others, so he couldn't crush them. It took him a lot of effort to step onto the pavilion. Damn it, the last pavilion will definitely be mine. The 10th Golden Crow Prince didn't step onto the pavilion and was in a bad mood. There was only 1 pavilion left out of the 9. Everyone looked at the last pavilion. Some of the geniuses who hadn't fought before also showed their battle intent, such as Tuoba Fei. When the jade stairs of the 9th pavilion descended, at least a dozen figures rushed towards the jade stairs. Scram! Kill! Loud roars sounded as the geniuses started to fight fiercely. Tuoba Fei also joined in the battle. As long as he was the first to reach the pavilion, he would win and the others would retreat. However, none of the other geniuses were weak and dared to compete. Needless to say, all of them had heavenly spiritual bodies and their cultivation had reached the greater success stage of the bright sacred realm. If they didn't have enough battle strength, they wouldn't be able to step onto the pavilion. Various lights flashed as super skills were unleashed and clashed fiercely. The jade stairs and the pavilion had runes shining on them. The terrifying force was neutralized when it landed on them. Caw! The golden crow cried. The 10th golden crow, Prince, turned into the 3-legged golden crow. His wings were like blades, and he was surrounded by the solar true fire. Normal geniuses of the same level weren't his match. Tuoba Fei was also fighting fiercely, but in the end he was sent flying by the 10th golden crow Prince's claw. He retreated in the air, and even his hair was burning. Damn it! Tuoba Fei roared. He was unwilling to give up. Lu Ming and Su Ran instinctively glanced at Tuoba Fei, but Tuoba Fei saw it. He had just been blasted down, and his hair was burnt. He was in a sorry state. When he saw Lu Ming and Su Ran's gazes, it was as if they were mocking him. He was instantly enraged and vented all his anger on the two of them. What are you looking at? You're just a piece of trash. You don't even dare to compete with me. How ridiculous! Tuoba Fei yelled. He was enraged when he recalled Lu calling him a mad dog. Lu Ming and Su Ran did not respond. They continued to watch the battle on the jade stairs, ignoring Tuoba Fei. Scram, you too trash. Be an eyesore. Tuoba Fei became even more furious when he saw that the two of them actually dared to ignore him. With a flash, he appeared beside Su Ran and sent a slap toward Su Ran. Su Ran was shocked and quickly retreated, but Tuoba Fei was too fast for him to dodge. At this moment, Lu Ming struck with his palm and collided with Tuoba Fei's palm. Tuoba Fei's body trembled, and he felt that the bones in his hand were about to break. He could not help but retreat 2 steps, looking at Lu Ming in horror. He felt that the power in Lu Ming's palm was extremely terrifying, as if it was going to shatter him. You're just a mad dog. How dare you bite people here? I have to teach you a lesson. Lu Ming took a step forward. His palm was like a knife, and he blasted it toward Tuoba Fei. His speed was as fast as lightning. A terrifying pressure completely enveloped Tuoba Fei. Tuoba Fei was shocked and took out a sacred weapon to block. However, when Lu Ming's palm landed on the sacred weapon, Tuoba Fei's sacred weapon deformed and exploded. Tuoba Fei's eyes widened. Although a sacred weapon was a sacred weapon, it was extremely sturdy. However, it had been shattered by Lu Ming's palm. Tuoba Fei was shocked. The terrifying power made Tuoba Fei spit out a mouthful of blood as he retreated. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and instantly appeared above Tuoba Fei's head. He stepped on Tuoba Fei's face. Tuoba Fei screamed miserably. His body was like a cannonball, smashing into the lake. Su Ran was dumbfounded. Lu Ming's battle strength had completely exceeded his expectations. When he first met Lu Ming in the 100-tribe battlefield, Lu Ming's cultivation was far inferior to his. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was strong, it was still inferior to his. Later on, Lu Ming surpassed him. In the end, when they escaped from the 100-tribe battlefield, although Lu Ming's battle strength was strong, it was still far from what it was now. How long had it been since they last met? Lu Ming could already beat Tuoba Fei like he was a puppy. Even a sacred weapon was shattered by Lu Ming's palm. What kind of battle strength was that? Tuoba Fei couldn't react for a moment. Su Ran, didn't you want to go up? I'll send you up. Lu Ming said, and then stepped towards the 9th pavilion. Su Ran then came to his senses and instinctively followed Lu Ming. The two of them stepped onto the jade stairs one after another. Where did this brat come from? Get lost. On the jade stairs, there was a young man who looked like a chimpanzee. His arms were thicker than a person's thigh. He was more than 3 meters tall and punched out. His fist was the size of a human head, and it was aimed at Lu Ming's head. A dull boom resounded in the air. This young man was fighting on the jade stairs and didn't see Lu Ming make a move at all. Now, he wanted to blast Lu Ming down with a punch. Lu Ming also punched out. Dong! The 2 fists collided. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard. The young chimpanzee's eyes popped out. His fist had completely exploded. Get lost! Lu Ming stepped forward and slapped out. A huge palm formed and slapped the young chimpanzee down the jade stairs. Many onlookers' eyes fell on Lu Ming. This person is so strong. He can easily crush others. Could he be another genius from a sacred ground? I don't think so. He came with Su Ran from the Blood Jade Palace. Many people were guessing Lu Ming's identity. The geniuses in the other 8 pavilions looked at Lu Ming curiously. Kill! Lu Ming hollered. The power of the soul attack dashed toward the other geniuses on the jade ladder. The bodies of those geniuses trembled violently. Lu Ming then punched them one by one and blasted them down. What a strong soul power! In the first pavilion, Wan Tianlong spoke. However, his voice remained calm. Lu Ming's soul power was not bad and his combat power was quite strong. However, he did not take him seriously. Lu Ming punched down a few geniuses and strode forward. There were still a few geniuses in front of him who stopped fighting and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's you. The 10th Golden Crow Prince saw Lu Ming and narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect Lu Ming to be so strong. Get lost! Lu Ming casually glanced at the few of them. Without stopping, he strode forward. Everyone, let's work together and knock this kid down. Chapter 1749. All right, let's team up and defeat this person. We'll fight. Attack! All of a sudden, the other elites and the 10th Golden Crow Prince attacked Lu Ming together. When the few of them joined forces, their powers were extremely terrifying. They used all kinds of skills to destroy Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not even bat an eyelid. His hand shook and slashed out like a blade. Lu Ming's body was surrounded by the power of the law of chaos. His hand seemed to contain a prison-suppressing monument that could suppress everything. Bang! 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 His palm struck down, and those magical skills dissipated like bubbles. Lu Ming was like an immortal god of war. He continued to move forward, and nothing could touch him. The expressions of the 10th Golden Crow Prince and the others turned unpleasant. They could not do anything to Lu Ming, even though they had teamed up. Get lost! Lu Ming said coldly as he continued to attack with his hand. Some of them tried their best to exchange blows with Lu Ming, but their bodies trembled as if they had been electrocuted. They were sent flying, and their bones felt like they were about to break. Lu Ming had already gone easy on them. If he attacked with his full strength, they would all die. The 10th Prince was the only one left on the jade stairs. He looked at Lu Ming in disbelief. Get lost! Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, this is the ancient moon, sacred ground. The Golden Crow clan is in the ancient moon, sacred ground. Give me some face and let me have this pavilion. I let bygones be bygones. The 10th Prince sent a message to Lu Ming. Give you some face? Who do you think you are? Get lost! Lu Ming shouted. He reached out and grabbed one of the 10th Golden Crow Prince's wings. He swung it and threw the 10th Golden Crow Prince out. The 10th Prince was ridiculous. He could not defeat Lu Ming, so he used the Golden Crow clan to threaten Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not believe that the seniors of the Golden Crow clan would attack him. Therefore, he did not need to be polite to the 10th Prince. Lu Ming, the Golden Crow 10th Prince, steadied himself in the distance. He gritted his teeth and glared at Lu Ming. In another pavilion, the 9th Prince's eyes also turned cold. Who was he to call the 10th Prince? What about him? Scolding the 10th Prince was the same as scolding him. The 10th Prince was thrown down the jade stairs. There was no one left on the jade stairs. Su Ran, let's go. Lu Ming looked at Su Ran, who was in a daze. He stepped forward and walked into the 9th pavilion with Su Ran. There were people in all 9 pavilions. Sir, how should I address you? You're truly suppressing the crowd. Little sister admires you. In the 9th pavilion, there was a lady in a long purple dress. Her skin was as fair as jade, and she was extremely beautiful. She looked at Lu Ming with her beautiful eyes and smiled sweetly. She was extremely alluring. I'm Lu Ming. Su Ran. Lu Ming and Su Ran cupped their fists. I'm Ziling. Please have a seat. Ziling will pour wine for you, Ziling said. Miss Ziling, you're too polite. I'm here to help Brother Su. Brother Su admires the jade, Lake Saintis, very much. Lu Ming smiled faintly and pushed Su Ran out. No, I'm just here to broaden my horizons. Su Ran hurriedly declined. He knew that, with his talent, the jade Lake Saintis would not take a liking to him. He was just here to broaden his horizons and join in the fun. He did not expect to be brought to the pavilion by Lu Ming to sit at the same table as the jade Lake Saintis. He was at a loss for what to do now. It seems that Ziling's charm is not enough for you to take a liking to me. Ziling sighed. Her eyes were filled with resentment. Ziling was already an outstanding beauty. Coupled with her expression, she was extremely seductive. Any man would be tempted. Miss Ziling, you've misunderstood, Su Ran hurriedly said. Lu Ming also looked a little embarrassed. Ziling then smiled and said, Ziling was just joking with you. Come, it's our first time meeting. Let Ziling offer you a toast. Lu Ming and Su Ran raised their wine cups and downed them in one gulp. Ziling was very good at talking. She quickly broke the awkward atmosphere and chatted with Lu Ming and Su Ran. It was obvious that the Jade Lake Saintis had received special training. Dealing with people was one of them. Otherwise, there would not have been so many peerless geniuses since ancient times who fell for the Jade Lake Saintis's pomegranate skirt. Outside the pavilion, many people were envious. Which genius would not want to drink and chat with the Jade Lake Saintis? It was the same in the other pavilions. They chatted merrily. After 3 rounds of wine, 2 jade tokens appeared in Ziling's hand. She handed them to Lu Ming and Su Ran. It's getting late. Ziling needs to go back and cultivate. If you have time in the future, you can send Ziling a message or come to the Jade Lake Palace as guests. Lu Ming and Su Ran received the jade tokens. Of course. Then Lu Ming will take his leave. Lu Ming cupped his fists and left the pavilion. Su Ran also left the pavilion, looking a little reluctant. What's wrong? Are you interested? Lu Ming smiled. Sigh, with Miss Ziling's talent, how could she be interested in me? The competition for the position of guardian is not limited to these people. If it's you, Lu Ming, it might be possible. Su Ran sighed. Of course. It was not that simple to become a guardian. All one had to do was step into a pavilion. Today, the Jade Lake Saintis had come into being and was just making some friends. In the future, they would have to interact more. Moreover, they could still compete with other geniuses. In the end, they would win the heart of the beauty and become the Jade Lake Saintis's guardian. It's impossible for me. Lu Ming smiled. He came here more to ask for help from the sacred ground forces, not to flirt with girls. After the people in the 9 pavilions left, the space rippled again. Then the 9 pavilions and the Jade Lake Divine Palace disappeared into the void. A small world. Lu Ming whispered. The sacred heart of an emperor-level expert could condense a small world that was like a real world. There were probably many emperor-level experts in the Jade Lake Divine Palace, so it was normal for it to have a small world. In fact, many emperor-level forces did not have the real core. The real core was the small world of the emperor-level expert. It was definitely more mysterious and vast than the mountain and river diagram. After all, the mountain and river diagram was only a treasure refined by an emperor-level expert. Kid, stop right there. Just as the 2 were about to leave, a cold voice sounded. 2 golden lights flashed, and 2 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming. The Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Golden Crow 9th Prince. Kid, how dare you insult the Golden Crow clan? You're courting death. Kneel down and apologize immediately. The Golden Crow 9th Prince said coldly. He was wearing a golden robe, and his body was covered in golden flames that distorted the space. I beat up the small one, and the big one comes. I wonder if the old one will come after I beat up the big one. Lu Ming curled the corner of his mouth and said contemptuously, "Arrogant, do you think you're a match for my 9th brother?" Chapter 1750. The 10th Golden Crow Prince shouted. The Golden Crows were proud, let alone their crown prince. As for the Golden Crow 10th Prince, he had repeatedly suffered in the hands of Lu Ming in the 100-clan battlefield. Now that he had broken through to the Saint Realm, he was similarly crushed by Lu Ming. His murderous intent toward Lu Ming was very strong. However, although Lu Ming was strong, he didn't think that Lu Ming could fight against his 9th brother. The 9th Golden Crow Prince had reached the peak of the Bright Saint Realm. His skills were very advanced, and he was much stronger than him. He believed that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. "It's just a sick bird. I can suppress it with a flip of my hand," Lu Ming said indifferently. "Haha, kid, you're very arrogant. I'd like to see if you have the right to be so arrogant." There was a cold glint in the eyes of the Golden Crow 9th Prince. The flames of the sun on his body were burning fiercely. He was like the son of the sun. His powerful aura suppressed Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was calm and did not feel anything at all. The commotion attracted the attention of the surrounding people. They all looked over. After beating up the small one, the big one comes. The Golden Crows are getting more and more shameless. At this moment, a clear voice sounded. It was clearly a woman's voice. The 9th Golden Crow Prince and the 10th Golden Crow Prince's faces darkened. They looked in the direction of the voice. 2 women stepped through the air and arrived. One of the women was wearing a phoenix dress. Her figure was graceful and her beauty was unparalleled. Huang Ling. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He was about to find Huang Ling and didn't expect to meet her here. The woman beside Huang Ling was wearing a green dress. She had a round face and jade-like skin. She was also very beautiful and wasn't much worse than Huang Ling. The 2 women walked through the air like fairies descending to the mortal world, attracting everyone's attention. Who are these 2 women? They're so beautiful, especially the one in the phoenix dress. She's even more beautiful than the Jade Lake Saintess. Of course, she's the top beauty of the Phoenix Palace, Huang Ling. Of course she's beautiful. The other woman isn't much worse. She's the genius of the clear snow pavilion, Mu Qingxiue. Sounds of discussion could be heard from the surroundings. Huang Ling and Mu Qingxiue came to Lu Ming's side. "What are you looking at? Do you want to eat me? Come at me if you can," Mu Qingxiue said sweetly as she glared at the Golden Crow 9th Crown Prince and the 10th Crown Prince. The voice just now was from Mu Qingxiue. "Huang Ling, Mu Qingxiue, could it be that the 2 of you want to meddle in other people's business?" The Golden Crow 9th Prince said coldly. "Lu Ming is my friend. What do you mean meddling in other people's business? If you want to make a move on him, I naturally have to interfere," Huang Ling said with a smile. The Golden Crow 9th Prince's eyes turned serious. Although Huang Ling's cultivation was weaker than his, only at the great accomplishment of the Bright Saint Realm, Huang Ling's physique was extremely terrifying. If they were to really fight, he was not confident. Moreover, Mu Qingxue's battle power was not any weaker than his. If they fought, he would most likely be at a disadvantage. "Brat, consider yourself lucky. But you can't be so lucky every time. 10th brother, let's go." With that, the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Golden Crow 10th Prince turned into 2 beams of golden light and left. Lucky? Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not comment. After the Golden Crow 9th Prince and the Golden Crow 10th Prince left, Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming and blinked a few times. She smiled and said, "The power of a beauty is really strong. Looks like even heroes can't resist the charms of a beauty and the charm of the Jade Lake Saintess, Lu Ming." Clearly, Huang Ling had seen Lu Ming stepping onto the 9th pavilion and drinking and chatting with the Jade Lake Saintess. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly and said, "Don't misunderstand. I'm here with Su Ran. I just happened to lend her a hand." "Is that so?" Huang Ling pursed her lips and smiled. "You're Lu Ming?" Mu Qingshue's eyes widened as she sized up Lu Ming. Then she said, You're not bad-looking and your battle power is not bad. No wonder Huang Ling misses you and talks about you all the time." "Qingxue, don't talk nonsense." "I'm not." Huang Ling's smiling face immediately turned red as she glared at Mu Qingxue. "Oh, you're not? Then I might have remembered wrongly." Mu Qingxue revealed a sly expression and then laughed coquettishly. Huang Ling's face turned even redder. She quickly changed the topic and asked, "Lu Ming, why did you suddenly come to the ancient moon, sacred ground?" "Of course it's because I miss our great beauty, Huang Ling. I'm here to see you." Mu Qingxue interjected again. Mu Qingxue obviously liked to joke. Huang Ling's face and neck were red with embarrassment. Lu Ming smiled and said, "Great beauty, Huang Ling, is so beautiful. Naturally, I wanted to come and see you earlier. However, I'm here for other important matters." "Oh, what is it?" Huang Ling asked. "It's about the evil spirit sect. The evil spirit sect has occupied Song State. Not only Song State, but also Cloud State and Emperor State. I'm here this time to ask for help from the powerful forces of the ancient moon, sacred ground." Lu Ming said, "The evil spirit sect." Huang Ling and Mu Qingshue's expressions changed at the same time. "Lu Ming, let's go to Phoenix Palace first. We'll talk as we walk," Huang Ling said. Lu Ming nodded, and the four of them immediately headed towards Phoenix Palace. On the way, Lu Ming briefly explained what had happened in Song State. "Huang Ling, I wonder if Phoenix Palace can send experts to destroy the evil spirit sect?" Lu Ming finally asked. Huang Ling frowned and said, "Lu Ming, according to what you said, the evil spirit sect and the Emperor family worked together to kill Emperor Yun in one fell swoop. I'm afraid they are very powerful. There are at least 2 Emperor-level experts. If Phoenix Palace wants to send people, they will have to send at least 4 or 5 Emperor-level experts. I don't have the authority to send such experts." Lu Ming nodded. He naturally understood this. Emperor-level experts were high and mighty and could dominate a region. How could a mere saintess like Huang Ling order them around? In Phoenix Palace, only the Palace Lord has the authority to do so. Huang Ling continued, "How can we meet the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace?" Lu Ming asked. "The Palace Master has a profound cultivation base and is in seclusion all year round. Even other Emperor-level experts would find it difficult to meet her, let alone me. I have seen her less than 3 times. Huang Ling explained. Such Emperor-level figures were elusive. It was indeed difficult to meet them. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. He had long guessed that it would not be so easy to ask for help from the sacred grounds. The main reason was that he was too weak. It was too difficult to meet those Emperor-level experts unless they took the initiative to meet him. "I have a way to let you meet the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace," Mu Qingxue said. "What way?" Lu Ming's eyes lit up. "In a month's time, some saintesses and saints of Phoenix Palace will be entering a phoenix nest to fight for a treasure. If you can help Phoenix Ling obtain that treasure, the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace might summon you." Chapter 1751. Phoenix Nest. Lu Ming was confused. "That's right, Lu Ming. In a month's time, the saints and saintesses of Phoenix Palace will enter a destroyed phoenix nest to search for the heart of a parasol tree. Every saintess and saint can invite a few friends to help. I wanted to ask for your help too. If we succeed, we might be able to meet the Palace Master." Huang Ling explained, "You're my friend. Even if this didn't happen, I would still help you. However, there are many sky prides in the ancient moon Holy Land. With my cultivation, I'm afraid I won't be able to help." Lu Ming said, No, because only those of the Bright Saint realm are allowed to enter this time, Huang Ling said. The four of them chatted as they walked. Huang Ling also told them about the matter in detail. It turned out that not long ago, the Phoenix Palace had discovered a phoenix nest. Unfortunately, this phoenix nest had been destroyed long ago, and the phoenixes inside were all dead. The elites of Phoenix Palace had entered the phoenix nest to investigate, but they were surrounded by the phoenix spirits and escaped with serious injuries. After many tests, Phoenix Palace discovered that there were many heroic spirits left behind by phoenixes after their deaths in the phoenix nest. These heroic spirits were usually in hibernation, but if an outsider were to enter, they would attack together. The more powerful one was, the more powerful the phoenix spirits would be alerted. Even the emperor-level elites of Phoenix Palace had to retreat with serious injuries. The weaker one's cultivation was, the less likely it was to alert the powerful phoenix spirits. At most, the weaker ones would be alerted. The elites of Phoenix Palace had also discovered that there was an ancient parasol tree in the phoenix nest that had condensed the heart of a parasol tree. This was a priceless treasure to Phoenix Palace. Therefore, Phoenix Palace decided to send their bright saints and saintesses into the phoenix nest in a month's time to retrieve the heart of a parasol tree. Each of them could invite 3 friends outside of Phoenix Palace to help. In fact, this was a test for the saints and saintesses. If anyone could obtain the heart of a parasol tree, they would be highly regarded by Phoenix Palace, and their status would be higher than the other saints and saintesses. The 4 of them chatted as they walked. Not long after, a majestic mountain peak appeared in front of them. This mountain peak was like a phoenix spreading its wings and dancing in the air. It was vivid and lifelike. There were many palaces built on the mountain peak. This was the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming discovered that the cultivation environment here was better than other places. Lu Ming, Su Ran, the 2 of you will live in Phoenix Palace from now on. How about it? Huang Ling said. I couldn't ask for more. Lu Ming said with a smile. Living here was much better than living in an inn. Su Ran naturally nodded repeatedly. The 4 of them flew into the Phoenix Palace. Huang Ling arranged a place for Lu Ming to stay. Then, she brought Lu Ming and the others to tour the Phoenix Palace. After a round of sightseeing, the group arrived at Lu Ming's residence, which was a side courtyard. Lu Ming, I will do my best to report the matter regarding the evil spirit sect and see if I can meet the palace master. You can stay here. If you need anything, you can contact me at any time. Huang Ling said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. After Huang Ling and Mu Qingxue left, Lu Ming and Su Ran each entered a room to cultivate. Time flew by. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming had bitterly cultivated the chaotic tribulation finger. Now it had reached 18%, and its power had increased again. In a side courtyard of Phoenix Palace, 3 people were gathered. They were Huang Ling, Lu Ming, and Mu Qingxue. Only then did Lu Ming know that Mu Qingxue was also one of the people Huang Ling had invited to help. Qin Yi is really slow. He's still not here. Mu Qingxue snorted. Every saint and saintess could invite 3 friends to help. Now that Lu Ming and Mu Qingxue had arrived, there was still 1 person missing. Anyway, there's still time. Let's wait a little longer, Huang Ling said. At that moment, Lu Ming looked up at the sky. A young man stepped on the air and arrived. This person was dressed in a white robe and was quite handsome. He stepped on the air and smiled. Huang Ling, I'm sorry for being late. I thought you weren't coming. Mu Qingxue said coldly, as if she was not very interested in this person. Mu Qingxue's attitude did not anger the young man. He still had a smile on his face. He turned to look at Lu Ming and said, Huang Ling, this is? He's Lu Ming. He's called Qin Yi. Huang Ling introduced. So it's Brother Lu. Qin Yi cupped his fists. Brother Qin. Lu Ming also cupped his fists. However, he had a feeling that Qin Yi's smile was very fake. Qin Yi sized up Lu Ming and said, "Brother Lu, you look very unfamiliar. Are you not from the ancient moon, sacred ground?" "No, I'm from Song Province," Lu Ming said. "Song Province?" The corner of Qin Yi's mouth twitched slightly, revealing a trace of contempt. Although he quickly hid it, Lu Ming still saw it. "May I know what Brother Lu's cultivation is now?" Qin Yi asked again. Lu Ming had used the illusory breathing technique to conceal his cultivation aura. Therefore, Qin Yi could not see it. "Hey, Qin Yi, you're asking too many questions. Why should I tell you what Lu Ming's cultivation is?" Mu Qingxue said unhappily. "Qingxue, you're wrong. Since we're a team and we're going to enter the Phoenix nest together to help Huang Ling complete her mission, we naturally have to understand the cultivation of others. Only then can we work together, right?" Qin Yi smiled. His words seemed reasonable, and Mu Qingxue was speechless. "It's just cultivation. There's nothing to hide. My cultivation is at Bright Saint Initial Success," Lu Ming said. "Bright Saint Initial Success?" Qin Yi's disdain was even stronger this time. He said, "Bright Saint Initial Success? To be honest, it's not enough. Huang Ling, if you can't find any friends, I can introduce you to a few who are at least at Bright Saint Initial Success." Although Qin Yi still had a smile on his face, his contempt was obvious. Huang Ling frowned and showed a trace of displeasure. She said, "No need. I believe that Lu Ming's combat strength is not weaker than a Bright Saint Initial Success. He will be of great help." "Oh, is that so?" Qin Yi's lips curled into a cold smile, and he did not say anything else. "All right, it's getting late. Let's go," Huang Ling said. Immediately, the four of them soared into the sky and soon arrived at a mountain peak. There were already quite a number of people on the mountain peak. Lu Ming scanned the area and discovered that there were 24 people. They were in groups of 4 and were divided into 6 groups. Obviously, they were the other saints and saintesses of Phoenix Palace and their friends, including Huang Ling's group. There were 7 groups in total. As soon as Lu Ming and the rest arrived, many cold and indifferent gazes looked at them. The 9th Prince of the Golden Crow. Lu Ming glanced around and saw the 9th Prince of the Golden Crow looking at him coldly. Besides, Lu Ming also saw many familiar faces. For example, Wan Tianlong of the Wan clan and the geniuses of the Wilderness Sword Sect. Chapter 1752. There were a total of 28 people in the 7 groups. They sized each other up and revealed their fighting spirit. The atmosphere was tense. "Huang Ling, I will definitely be the one to take the heart of the parasol tree. You should give up." A young man looked at Huang Ling and said coldly. He was full of confidence. He was wearing a phoenix robe and was handsome and noble. "What a joke! The heart of the parasol tree will definitely be mine." A voice came from the side. It was from a lady. Huang Ling looked calm and did not say a word. "The man's name is Huang Kong, and the woman's name is Huang Bing. Both of them have the highest cultivation bases among this batch of holy sons and holy maidens. However, their talents can't compare to Huang Ling's. That's why they have been opposing Huang Ling and trying to suppress her." Mu Qingxue transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body, and her spiritual body could evolve continuously. She had already evolved to a medium heavenly spiritual body in the 100-tribe battlefield. Ordinary elites could not compare to her. Lu Ming looked around and saw that the helpers that Huang Kong and Huang Bing had invited were very strong. Their auras were strong and hard to predict. For example, the Golden Crow 9th Prince was beside Huang Bing, and Wan Tianlong was beside Huang Kong. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At that moment, the sound of air being torn apart could be heard in the sky. 3 old men flew through the air. "Greetings, Elder." Huang Ling and the other saints and saintesses of Phoenix Palace bowed. "Rise." The leading old man waved his hand and said, "Everyone is here. Now follow us." After the leading old man said that, he flew into the air and the others followed. Soon they came to a valley. There was a black vortex in the valley, and behind the vortex was the phoenix nest. "Let's go in." The leading old man said, "Let's go." Huang Kong was the first to speak. He rushed into the vortex with his 3 helpers and disappeared. Then Huang Bing and the others also rushed into the vortex and disappeared. "Let's go in too," Huang Ling said. She was the first to rush into the black tortoise. Lu Ming and the others followed closely behind. The moment they rushed into the vortex, they appeared on a mountain peak. They looked up, and there was a thick black mist in front of them that obstructed their vision. The others appeared not far away. Swoosh! Whoosh! Then Huang Kong and the others flew forward and disappeared into the thick black fog. According to the experts of Phoenix Palace, the parasol tree is in the depths of the phoenix nest. Huang Ling said. After that, the 4 of them also flew forward. As they flew into the fog, they realized that it was really too thick. Visibility was not high. At the beginning, they could still see the figures of the other saints and saintesses. Later on, those figures completely disappeared. After flying for an unknown period of time, they finally flew out of the area shrouded in fog. Their vision widened, but they did not see the other holy sons, holy daughters, and their helpers. Clearly, flying in the fog, everyone's direction was a little off, and they had long since separated. This place seems to have experienced a terrifying battle. Mu Qingxue exclaimed in surprise. Looking into the distance, one could see many mountains, but most of them had collapsed. Some seemed to have been cut off by a sword, and some seemed to have been smashed by a palm. They even saw huge palm and fist prints on the ground. This phoenix nest should be a small world. I don't know how long ago there was a terrifying battle. Almost all the phoenixes here were slaughtered. Next, we have to be careful. I'm afraid that the phoenix spirit will appear and attack us, Huang Ling said. The 4 of them concealed their auras and flew forward. They had not flown far when suddenly the cry of a phoenix resounded through the sky. Then a phoenix rushed out from the ground. This phoenix did not seem to have a physical body. Instead, it was a black shadow. Its eyes were filled with intense resentment as it pounced toward the 4 of them. Mu Qingxue shouted and struck out with her palm. A terrifying cold wave rushed out and sent the phoenix spirit flying. However, the phoenix spirit roared again and rushed toward Mu Qingxue. Cold wave sword, slash! Mu Qingxue shouted and clenched her fist. A terrifying cold wave appeared and condensed into a long sword. With a slash, the phoenix spirit was split into 2. It turned into wisps of black smoke and rushed into the ground, disappearing. Divine power art. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Mu Qingxue had used a divine power art. Mu Qingxue's cultivation was also very high. She had reached the peak of the bright sage realm. Her divine power art was profound and her combat power was strong. No wonder the Golden Crow 9th Prince was so afraid and left directly. After destroying a phoenix spirit, the 4 of them sped up and rushed forward. However, not long after, another phoenix cry sounded. This time, several phoenix spirits appeared and pounced toward the 4 of them. Those with weak cultivation, stand back. Don't get in the way. Qin Yi glanced coldly at Lu Ming, then stepped forward and charged toward the phoenix spirits. Qin Yi's combat power was not weaker than Mu Qingxue's. No wonder he was so arrogant. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Since he was not asked to do anything, he could not be bothered to do anything. He stood beside Huang Ling, Mu Qingxue, and Qin Yi joined forces and quickly destroyed a few phoenix spirits. The 4 of them continued forward, but more and more phoenix spirits appeared. Mu Qingxue and Qin Yi found it more and more difficult to deal with them. Huang Ling is really something. She invited a piece of trash. Otherwise, with an expert, we would have an easier time. Seeing more and more phoenix spirits, Qin Yi's face became uglier and uglier. He began to not hide his thoughts and mocked. However, at this time a huge phoenix spirit appeared. This phoenix spirit was exceptionally huge, several times larger than the other phoenix spirits. Its aura was extremely strong and terrifying. It screamed and pounced toward Qin Yi. Qin Yi unleashed all his strength and blasted out a huge palm print toward the phoenix spirit. However, the phoenix spirit's claws were unparalleled. With a claw, it destroyed Qin Yi's palm print. Its wings were like blades and slashed toward Qin Yi. Qin Yi's face changed drastically. He took out a sacred weapon to block, but his entire body was sent flying. His face was pale, and he almost vomited blood. This phoenix spirit is too strong. We can't fight it. Let's leave this place first and take a detour, Qin Yi suggested. Detour? In my opinion, there are such powerful phoenix spirits everywhere. If we can't break through here, other places will be the same, Lu Ming said. Shut up. What right does a piece of trash like you have to speak? We are fighting. What are you doing? Qin Yi shouted coldly. At this time, the powerful phoenix spirit pounced toward Qin Yi again. Qin Yi's face changed drastically. He turned around and ran, shouting, Listen to me. Take a detour. Even if we join forces, we are no match for it. Qin Yi's speed was very fast. As soon as he ran, the huge phoenix hero, Spirit, pounced on Phoenix Spirit and Lu Ming. Huangling, be careful, Mu Qingxue shouted. She wanted to rush over to help, but it was too late. Chapter 1753. Huangling would not retreat. Her thoughts were the same as Lu Ming's. There were phoenix spirits everywhere in this place. There might be stronger spirits in other places. They could only rush over. If they could not even rush over here, how could they compete with the other saints and saintesses? Let me. At this time, Lu Ming spoke and stepped out. A powerful aura surged from Lu Ming's body. Then his palm slashed out like a knife toward the sharp claws of the phoenix spirit. A bright sage initial level wants to take on the phoenix spirit head-on. You are ridiculous. You are courting death. In the distance, Qin Yi sneered. However, in the next moment his smile disappeared. Bam! Lu Ming's palm collided with the sharp claws of the phoenix spirit. However, the phoenix spirit's body was sent flying. Then Lu Ming stepped out and a huge, chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his palm. It was as big as a mountain and pressed down on the phoenix spirit. Although the chaotic flipping sky seal was only a territorial martial technique, when Lu Ming used it with his current cultivation, its power was still terrifying. Boom! The chaotic flipping sky seal pressed down on the phoenix spirit. The phoenix spirit trembled and cried out continuously. Lu Ming's hands did not stop. The chaotic flipping sky seal continued to condense and attack the phoenix spirit. After 5 to 6 consecutive attacks, the phoenix spirit finally could not take it anymore. It exploded with a bang and turned into black smoke. In the distance, Qin Yi's expression froze. Then it became extremely gloomy. Lu Ming's combat strength was so strong. He was only a bright sage initial level, but he could suppress the phoenix spirit. Was his combat strength not stronger than Qin Yi's? In Qin Yi's opinion, he was no match for the phoenix spirit. Now, Lu Ming could kill the phoenix spirit. Wasn't that a slap to his face? Especially in front of the two beauties, Huangling and Mu Qingxue. A cold light flashed in Qin Yi's eyes. Huangling and Mu Qingxue were stunned. This guy's combat strength has become stronger, Huangling muttered. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared beside Mu Qingxue, helping her deal with the other phoenix spirits. These phoenix spirits were much weaker, so how could they be a match for Lu Ming? He took out one phoenix spirit after another, and they were quickly wiped out. Let's go! Lu Ming said to Huangling. Lu Ming, what do you mean? You clearly have such powerful combat strength. So why didn't you make a move just now? Were you deliberately waiting for us to be unable to resist before making a move to show off your strength? You are disregarding the safety of others. Qin Yi flew back and scolded with a gloomy face. Didn't you tell me not to make a move just now? Moreover, the one who wanted to show off was you, right? Of course, I had to give you the chance. Unfortunately, I didn't expect you to be a piece of trash. Lu Ming said calmly. What did you say? Qin Yi's expression became even gloomier. Lu Ming actually dared to call him trash? Isn't that so? Also, to borrow your words, trash, stand at the back and don't make a move, lest you get in the way. Lu Ming sneered and then stepped forward. Mu Qingxue let out a crisp laugh and looked at Qin Yi with disdain. Then, she and Huang Ling followed Lu Ming and moved forward. Qin Yi clenched his fists tightly and a shocking murderous intent burst out from his eyes. Lu Ming actually dared to humiliate him. He was just a person from Tsang State, and he actually dared to humiliate him, a supreme talent of a sacred ground force. He was simply courting death. Qin Yi's eyes darted around a few times before he followed Lu Ming and the rest and moved forward. Then, more phoenix spirits appeared. However, with Lu Ming taking the lead, these phoenix spirits couldn't stop them at all, and they quickly rushed forward. Half an hour later, they had flown for tens of thousands of miles, and finally, no more phoenix spirits appeared. Without the appearance of any phoenix spirits, their speed increased sharply, and they turned into 4 streams of light that cut across the sky. After flying for an unknown distance, a towering ancient tree appeared in front of the 4 of them. Is that the ancient parasol tree? It's actually rooted in the void. Looking at the towering tree in front of them, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with shock. That ancient tree was so huge that it blotted out the sky. It was unknown how tall it was, but the most shocking thing was that the roots of the ancient tree were actually rooted in the void. It was as if a towering ancient tree had grown out of the void. This scene was really shocking. Huang Ling was slightly better, as she seemed to have already known about it. However, Mu Qingxue and Qin Yi were also a little dumbfounded. That's the ancient parasol tree. The heart of the parasol tree is up there. Let's go, Huang Ling said, and took the lead to fly forward. Not long after, they slowly approached the ancient parasol tree. The closer they got, the more they felt that the ancient parasol tree was huge. It was as if it could hold up a world. Below the ancient parasol tree, there was a very majestic mountain that pierced through the sky. The top of the mountain was near the roots of the ancient parasol tree. When they arrived, they realized that they couldn't fly up as they were obstructed by a powerful force. What's going on? How can we go up the ancient parasol tree if we can't fly up? Mu Qingxue was puzzled. That mountain goes straight to the roots of the ancient parasol tree. Could it be that we go up from there? Lu Ming said. Let's go and take a look. Huang Ling said, and the 4 of them flew forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! At that moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from other directions. There were also people flying toward the mountain. Huang Kong, Huang Bing, Huang Xian. Huang Ling whispered. In addition to them, there were 3 other saints. The saints brought their people here. The 4 of them arrived at the mountain almost at the same time. There was a jade staircase on the mountain that led from the foot of the mountain to the top. At the foot of the mountain, there was a stone tablet with a line of words written on it. If you want to go up the parasol tree, you have to go up this staircase. It was obvious that if they wanted to step on the ancient parasol tree, they had to climb up the jade staircase to the top of the mountain. Then they had to obtain the heart of the parasol tree from the top of the mountain. The 4 of them moved almost at the same time and rushed toward the jade staircase. Lu Ming rushed up the jade staircase and took a step. His body was as light as a swallow as he rushed toward the top of the mountain. Qin Yi and Mu Qingxue did the same. However, when Lu Ming looked at them, he realized that something was wrong. Huang Ling's body was glowing as if she was under great pressure and was climbing up with difficulty. Not only her, but Huang Kong, Huang Bing, and Huang Xian were also in the same situation. They seemed to be under great pressure, and it was extremely difficult for them to climb up. Other than the four of them, the rest of the people who came to help seemed to be very relaxed. At that moment, the rest of the people also noticed the strange scene, and all of them stopped. How could this be? This jade staircase will form a powerful pressure on those who cultivate the phoenix physique, Huang Kong said. This might have been built a long time ago to test the younger generation of the Phoenix clan, Huang Ling said. Chapter 1754. Huang Bing, I will get the heart of the parasol tree for you. The 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe said. He then turned into a ray of golden light and rushed up the jade stairs. The heart of the parasol tree is mine, Wan Tianlong, who was beside Huang Kong, said as he rushed up the stairs. Then Mu Qingxue, Qin Yi, and the others rushed up the jade stairs, afraid that they would be too slow. Lu Ming did not move. He felt that it was not that simple. If the jade stairs were really a test for the younger generation of the Phoenix tribe, it would be useless for the others to go up. Lu Ming was not the only one who did not move. The great Baron's sword sect disciple beside Huang Bing also did not move. He carried his sword and stood beside Huang Bing. Huang Ling, Huang Bing, Huang Kong, and Huang Xian were doing their best to climb up. Mu Qingxue, the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe, and the others came down from the peak. We can't go up the ancient parasol tree. There is a powerful force stopping us, Mu Qingxue said. According to my guess, it's very likely that only those with the phoenix physique can ascend the parasol tree and obtain the heart of the parasol tree after passing the test. Lu Ming guessed. That's possible. Mu Qingxue nodded. The others also thought of the same thing and stood behind Huang Kong, Huang Bing, and the others. Now Huang Ling and the others could only rely on themselves. Whoever reached the peak first would obtain the heart of the parasol tree. Huang Ling and the others walked up step by step. However, their speed was very slow. It seemed that the higher they went, the greater the pressure they felt. There are too many people here. I think we should let some go down. The 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe's eyes shone with golden light as he looked at Huang Ling and Lu Ming. I also think that there are too many people. Why don't we get rid of some? Another young man beside the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe said. Bam! Bam! The two of them stepped out and walked toward Lu Ming and the others. Only the great Baron's sword sect genius did not move. Jie, the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe, transformed into his true form. His body was covered in the divine sun flame, and his wings were like blades as he slashed at Lu Ming. The other person blasted towards Huang Ling. As long as he could knock Huang Ling off the jade staircase or even injure her, he would be able to get rid of one opponent for Huang Bing. Huang Ling was trying her best to resist the pressure from the jade stairs and could not resist at all. Scram! Mu Qingxue shouted. She fought against that genius and blocked that person. On the other hand, Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he struck the 9th prince's wings with his palm. Clang! The sound of metal striking metal rang out. The Golden Crow 9th prince's wings were tougher than ordinary saint weapons, but Lu Ming's attack could even split a saint weapon. Lu Ming's attack directly broke through the 9th prince's grand sun, divine fire. The terrifying power of the hell-suppressing heavenly art surged towards the Golden Crow's wings. The 9th prince's body trembled as if he was electrocuted, and he quickly retracted his wings. Sick bird, I'll pluck all your feathers today. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He stepped forward and used the hell-suppressing heavenly art. His palm was like a knife that continuously struck the 9th prince. The 9th prince roared and flapped his wings wildly. 2 suns formed on his wings, completely formed by the grand sun divine fire. They were extremely powerful and blasted towards Lu Ming. But Lu Ming ignored him. He stepped forward and used the law of chaos. He used the hell-suppressing heavenly art and struck out with his 2 palms. Bam! Bam! The two suns, formed by the grand sun, divine fire exploded. Lu Ming rushed over and continuously struck the ninth prince's wings with his palms. The ninth prince's body shook violently. He could not resist Lu Ming's terrifying power at all. After a few moves, the golden feathers on his wings fluttered and were continuously struck down by Lu Ming. Huang Jian, what are you waiting for? The Golden Crow Ninth Prince roared furiously. Whoosh! A visible sword light cut through the void and slashed towards Lu Ming. The sword light was black, but it was extremely sharp and terrifying. Bam! Lu Ming suddenly stepped forward and broke the ninth prince's defense with his palms. He grabbed one of the ninth prince's legs and swung it towards the sword light. The sword light slashed down and blood spurted out. The sky was filled with golden feathers. One of the ninth prince's wings was almost chopped off. Although it was not chopped off in the end, only half of it was hanging on it. It was a horrible sight. Lu Ming, I will kill you. The ninth prince roared crazily. He was like a chick that was about to be slaughtered and kept flapping in Lu Ming's hands. I didn't chop you. Why are you shouting at me so fiercely? Lu Ming grinned. He grabbed the injured wing of the Golden Crow Ninth Prince with his other hand and tore it forcefully. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince gasped a breath of cold air and let out a shrill scream. Let him go! The elite of the Great Baron Sword Sect stepped forward and stabbed Lu Ming with his sword-like eyes. Go ahead, but be careful. Don't kill this sick bird. Lu Ming said. The elite of the Great Baron Sword Sect was extremely powerful. He had reached the great circle of the Bright Sage Realm and was much more powerful than the Ninth Prince. Clang! The elite of the Great Baron Sword Sect unsheathed his sword. It was a metal sword. The metal sword flew across the sky and slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw the Golden Crow Ninth Prince at him. The eyes of the Great Baron Sword Sect's elite narrowed. He put away his iron sword and slapped with his other hand, forming a huge palm print and blocking the Golden Crow Ninth Prince. Huang Jian, kill that brat. The Ninth Prince roared. Back off. Huang Jian's words were simple. After that, he returned to Huang Bing's side. Lu Ming gave him a strong sense of pressure. He felt that he was not confident in defeating Lu Ming. Lu Ming, remember this. The Ninth Prince looked at Lu Ming coldly and returned to Huang Bing's side. He bathed in the divine sunfire and started to recover from his injuries. The elite, who was fighting with Mu Qingxue, also retreated. Wan Tianlong and the other elites looked at Lu Ming seriously. Lu Ming was so powerful that he could defeat the Ninth Prince. The Ninth Prince was at the peak of the Bright Sage Realm and was a divine beast. He was born with the power of the Bright Sage Realm and could use the Bright Sun's superpower. His combat strength was no weaker than theirs. However, he was beaten up badly by Lu Ming. The people around them quietened down and waited for Huang Ling, Huang Bing, Huang Kong, and Huang Xian to fight. The four of them shone brightly and formed the shadows of phoenixes of different colors. They tried their best to resist the pressure of the jade stairs and slowly climbed up. At first, the four of them were walking side by side. However, Huang Xian was soon at a disadvantage and was overtaken by Huang Ling and the other two. Huang Xian was unwilling to give up. She tried her best to catch up, but the distance between her and the three of them was increasing. Huang Ling, Huang Kong, and Huang Bing were walking side by side. Chapter 1755. Bam, bam, bam. The three of them climbed one step at a time. Every step they took caused the jade staircase to creak. Phoenix cries could be heard from the three of them. Huang Ling was bathed in the undying flame as though she was about to turn into an undying phoenix. Gradually, Huang Ling took the lead and surpassed Huang Bing and Huang Kong. Huang Bing and Huang Kong's faces darkened. They were unwilling to admit defeat. Were they going to lose to Huang Ling and let her obtain the heart of the parasol tree? They knew very well that this mission was a test from the upper echelons of Phoenix Palace. The palace lord would pay close attention to it. Whoever won would be able to suppress the other saints and saintesses. They would be valued and receive more resources in the future. Only then would they have the capital to challenge the stronger saints and saintesses. For a powerful faction like Phoenix Palace, there were too many geniuses. In every generation, there would be a saint and saint. How many geniuses would there be from generation to generation? If they wanted to stand at the top and compete for the position of the palace master, they would have to surpass all the other geniuses. Now, if the 7 saints and saintesses were unable to come out on top, they would be relegated to supporting roles in the future and would not be able to compete for the position of the palace master. Unless they had a heaven-defying opportunity in the future. Time passed slowly. Huang Ling's lead became more obvious, and she was getting closer to the top of the mountain. The 9th prince, one Tianlong Huangjian, and the other geniuses did not look too good. After all, they had been invited by Huang Kong and Huang Bing to help. Naturally, they would want to help them come out on top. This way they would be proud. Huang Kong and Huang Bing looked at each other. Then a vicious look flashed in their eyes. Let's team up and knock Huang Ling down first. Then we can compete. What do you think? Huang Kong sent a voice transmission to Huang Bing. All right, I have the same idea. I will send a voice transmission to Huang Jian and the rest. Huang Bing nodded. Then she sent a voice transmission to Huang Jian and the 9th prince. She planned to team up with Huang Kong to deal with Huang Ling first. At the same time, Huang Kong sent a voice transmission to the 3 geniuses he had invited. The 9th prince's eyes lit up and a cold killing intent flashed in them. Beside Huang Kong, Wan Tianlong and the other geniuses looked at Lu Ming and the rest and nodded silently. Then, in a flash, 6 sky prides charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Oh no! Huang Kong and Huang Bing have joined forces to deal with Huang Ling first. Mu Qingxue exclaimed. It wasn't hard to guess what was going on. Guard the phoenix spirit well. The 2 of you guard the left and right sides. I'll guard the bottom. Lu Ming said. He stood behind Huang Ling, looking down at the Golden Crow 9th prince and the others. Get out of here. The Golden Crow 9th prince glanced at Lu Ming. In the end, he did not dare to fight and charged towards Qini. The other Sky Pride charged towards Mu Qingxue. As for Huang Jian, Wan Tianlong, and the other 3, they attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming's combat strength was the strongest. As long as he dealt with Lu Ming first, the rest would be easy to handle. Clang! Huang Jian's iron sword was unsheathed and slashed through the void, making a terrifying whistling sound as it slashed towards Lu Ming. At the same time, Wan Tianlong's body was covered in light, and sacred weapons appeared one after another. There was a total of 72 sacred weapons, and one of them was a great sacred weapon. The aura of the sacred weapons gathered together, and its power was extremely shocking. It charged towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. It wasn't Wan Tianlong, but another young man in a purple robe. This person was actually at the great circle of the Bright Sage realm, just like Huang Jian. He was extremely powerful, and a terrifying giant snake charged towards Lu Ming with a palm strike. 2 Great Circle of the Bright Sage realm and 2 Peak Bright Sage realm. The 4 of them joined forces, and their power was terrifying. They were going to kill Lu Ming. Back in Sangzhou, Lu Ming had used all his strength to kill a great saint in the initial stage. However, that was only an ordinary great saint. Now, these 4 people weren't ordinary saints, but all of them were elites. They were existences with heavenly spiritual bodies, and their divine skills were even more powerful. Each of them was someone who could fight against those above their level. For example, Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe. Although they were at the great circle of the Bright Sage realm, their combat strength might not be weaker than the great saint in Sangzhou. Kill! Lu Ming let out a loud roar and cast the divine sword art. Sword gleams pierced through his eyes continuously. Huang Jian and the other 3 shuddered, but Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe recovered in an instant. They didn't stop attacking, and charged towards Lu Ming. Only Wan Tianlong and the other person were affected more. What a strong soul power! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. These elites couldn't be judged by common sense. Not only were their combat strength strong, but their soul power was also stronger than ordinary people. Most of them had treasures that could defend their soul. Lu Ming's divine sword art didn't affect them much. Fight! Lu Ming executed the hell-suppressing heaven skill and threw out a few palm strikes. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming destroyed Huang Jian's sword light and the young man in a purple robe's attack, but his body couldn't help but tremble. However, immediately after, Desolate Sword and the others launched even more berserk attacks. What they used were all divine abilities, divine skills at 30% completion. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe's divine skills had reached 30% completion, and their power was extremely terrifying and destructive. Although Wan Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe were weaker, they were still a threat to Lu Ming. Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming executed the Chaotic Calamity Finger for the first time, and he struck out 4 fingers consecutively. 4 huge fingers in the color of chaos, containing destructive power, pointed towards the 4 people. Bam! 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 The 4 people's attacks were instantly destroyed. Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe shuddered, and they took a few steps back. As for Wan Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe, they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Although the Chaotic Calamity Finger was only at 18% completion, its power was more powerful than the 30% completion of a divine skill that was cultivated from an ordinary law. The law of chaos. Could he be the son of chaos? Huang Jian's eyes were filled with shock as he recognized Lu Ming's law. So what if he is the son of chaos? He hasn't matured yet, and I will still kill him. The young man in a purple robe shouted, and purple light burst out. He waved his hands continuously, and huge purple snakes pounced towards Lu Ming. The 2 of you, go and deal with Huang Ling, leave Lu Ming to us. Huang Jian said to Wan Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe. All right. Wan Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe nodded. They planned to go around Lu Ming and charge towards Huang Ling. Stay here! Lu Ming shouted. His glabella shone, and the Tai Chi array disc floated out. Then, the Tai Chi diagram appeared and turned into yin-yang fish swords. They charged towards Wan Tianlong and the young man in a purple robe, blocking their path. At the same time, he executed the Chaotic Calamity Finger and fought against Huang Jian and the young man in a purple robe. Lu Ming alone blocked the 4 supreme talents, preventing them from getting close to Huang Ling. The rest of the people were shocked, especially Huang Kong and Huang Bing, who could not keep calm. They had never seen Lu Ming before. Which force was he from? His combat strength was too terrifying. He was only at the initial mastery of the Bright Saint realm, but his combat strength was simply heaven-defying. He could actually fight against the 4 supreme geniuses. Moreover, the law that he controlled seemed to be the legendary law of chaos. Could he really be the son of chaos? Chapter 1756. Everyone was shocked by Lu Ming's combat strength. As for Qi Ni, his eyes flickered with jealousy. Previously, Lu Ming had embarrassed him in front of Huang Ling. Now he was in the limelight again, overshadowing all the other sky prides. This made him extremely jealous. He secretly hated that he was not the one in the limelight. It seems that this brat is interested in Huang Ling. I'm afraid that Huang Ling has taken a fancy to this brat too. Humph, I won't let you get what you want. Qi Ni's eyes flickered with a cold light. He was fighting with the 9th prince of the Golden Crow. At this moment, he deliberately shook his body and retreated frantically, exposing Huang Ling to the 9th prince's attack. Oh no! Lu Ming and Mu Qingxue were shocked. With Qin Yi's combat strength, it was not a problem for him to block the 9th prince of the Golden Crow. However, he was actually pushed back by the 9th prince of the Golden Crow. This was not normal, but there was no time to think about it. Huang Ling, get out of here! The ninth prince of the Golden Crow roared. His golden wings flapped out like blades towards Huang Ling. Huang Ling could not counterattack. She could only defend herself. Boom! The undying flame on Huang Ling's body shook violently as if it was about to be shattered. Huang Ling's delicate body shook violently. She could not help but take a few steps back. She spat out a mouthful of blood and her face turned pale. Kill! The ninth prince of the Golden Crow shouted. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. A violent attack poured down on Huang Ling. Huang Ling! Mu Qingxue was anxious. However, she was entangled by her opponent and could not help at all. You're courting death! At this moment, Lu Ming roared. Spots of light lit up on his body, and sacred weapons appeared one after another. The sacred weapons and combat weapon chi linked up and shot up into the sky like pillars of light. With a thought, Lu Ming sent out a great sacred weapon battle sword. It pierced towards the ninth prince of the Golden Crow, making a terrifying whistling sound. The Golden Crow ninth prince was shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming to have the energy to attack him while he was fighting the four geniuses. At this moment, he flapped his wings and a sun appeared, wanting to block Lu Ming's sword gleam. However, it was useless. The battle sword pierced through the sun and pierced through one of the ninth crown prince's wings. The terrifying power pushed the ninth crown prince back, almost tearing off one of his wings. 10,000 weapon art? How do you know the 10,000 weapon art? Wan Tianlong shouted in disbelief. Huang Jian and the others were also shocked. Lu Ming actually knew the Wan clan's 10,000 weapons art. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long roar. The sacred weapons rained down on the ninth prince like a storm. The ninth prince fought back with all his might, but in the next moment there were wounds on his body. Golden feathers scattered in the air. Wang! Lu Ming controlled the Taiji disc array and emitted a resplendent brilliance, suppressing the Desolate Sword. Desolate Sword held the iron sword with both hands as it soared through the air, clashing with the Taiji disc array. Primal Chaos Finger! Lu Ming's finger circulated the law of primal chaos. He pointed out, and a huge finger was formed. It was like the finger of a deity, destroying and suppressing everything. The 18% primal chaos finger exploded with full force. The finger's target was still Desolate Sword. Desolate Sword's eyes turned solemn. He roared, and his body was covered with iron swords. Dong! The primal chaos finger tapped on the iron sword. Desolate Sword's body shook violently and flew back. He landed at the bottom of the jade staircase with blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. The others were shocked. Lu Ming was too powerful. He had injured the ninth prince and Desolate Sword consecutively. He was like an undefeatable god of war. The remaining few people could not help but retreat. They looked at Lu Ming solemnly and stopped attacking. Lu Ming, how did you cultivate the 10,000 weapons art? Wan Tianlong stared at Lu Ming and shouted coldly. Lu Ming smiled faintly and did not answer. Legend has it that the law of primal chaos has a myriad of transformations and can turn into a myriad of laws. Other than some sovereign laws and ultimate laws, everything else can be transformed. It is not surprising that you have cultivated the 10,000 weapons art. Desolate Sword wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said, "This person is really the son of primal chaos." The purple-robed young man said with a solemn look, "Huang Bing, you can only rely on yourself now. We have tried our best." Desolate Sword shook his head and sheathed his combat sword. He sat down cross-legged and started to heal his injuries. The purple-robed young man moved and retreated. Apparently, he had given up on stopping Huang Ling. Lu Ming was too powerful, and his combat strength was unparalleled. Even with so many of them working together, it was useless. They had tried their best. They were only here to help. There was no need to risk their lives. Wan Tianlong's gaze was very cold. He swept a few glances at Lu Ming and then retreated. Keep! Lu Ming waved his hand, and the sacred weapons flew back into Lu Ming's body. At that moment, the Golden Crow Ninth Prince was in a miserable state. He was covered in blood, and almost all of his golden feathers had fallen off. He had become a hairless crow. The others looked at the Golden Crow Ninth Prince with a strange expression. They wanted to laugh, but were too embarrassed to do so. Ah, Lu Ming, I want you dead! The Golden Crow Ninth Prince roared hysterically. Humiliation! This was a great humiliation. The Golden Crows were known as the divine beasts of the sun. They were extremely arrogant. In ancient times, they had once competed with the true dragons and phoenixes. They were definitely a top divine beast. But now, as the Golden Crow Crown Prince, he had been stripped naked by Lu Ming in front of everyone. This was a blatant humiliation. How dare a sick bird make a fuss? Looks like we will have roasted bird meat today. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he stared at the Golden Crow Ninth Prince. The Golden Crow Ninth Prince was exuding a cold aura as he retreated frantically. Fear flashed in his eyes. A normal bird. You really don't have any guts. Hurry up and get lost. Lu Ming scolded as he stepped forward. He came to Huang Ling's side and glanced coldly at Qin Yi. Qin Yi's face darkened. At that moment, Huang Kong and Huang Bing's faces darkened. Lu Ming's combat strength had far exceeded their expectations. It was impossible for them to push Huang Ling down. They could only rely on themselves. The cries of phoenixes rang out continuously as Huang Ling and the others moved forward bravely. But as time passed, Huang Ling's advantage grew. Her speed did not change, but Huang Kong and Huang Bing's speed became slower and slower. They could only watch as Huang Ling got closer to the top of the mountain. A few hours later, Huang Ling stepped onto the top of the mountain. When Huang Ling stepped onto the top of the mountain, a flaming phoenix on her body let out a long cry and shot into the sky. Her aura skyrocketed. She broke through. Everyone was shocked. When she stepped onto the top of the mountain, Huang Ling's cultivation had broken through to the peak of the Bright Saint Realm. It seemed that the Jade Staircase was not only a trial for the disciples of the Phoenix Palace, but also an opportunity. Huang Bing, Huang Kong, and Huang Xian stopped and let out a long sigh. They knew that they had lost this competition. Huang Ling's aura skyrocketed. After a while, she retracted it. At that moment, the parasol tree's leaves fell and formed a phoenix. Chapter 1757. Soon after, Huang Ling descended from the sky above the parasol tree. Huang Ling, how was it? Did you get the heart of the parasol tree? Lu Ming asked. I got it. Huang Ling nodded. That's great. Mu Qingxue jumped up in excitement. Huang Kong, Huang Bing, and the others were envious, but that was all. They could no longer fight for the heart of Wudong. This time, many important figures from Phoenix Palace would be watching. The competition before was nothing, but now that Huang Ling had obtained the heart of Wudong, they would be punished if they fought for it. Congratulations, Huang Ling. Huang Bing smiled and congratulated Huang Ling to express her goodwill. Now that Huang Ling had obtained the heart of the parasol tree, her position in Phoenix Palace would be higher in addition to her terrifying talent. She might be able to compete with more powerful elites in the future. Since she had lost, she naturally had to build a good relationship with Huang Ling. Thank you. Huang Ling smiled. Humph. Huang Kong groaned coldly. Then he left without stopping. The strong cultivator that he had invited also left with him. Sister Huang Ling, I'll take my leave first. Huang Bing smiled and left with Huang Jian and the rest. Then, Huang Xian and the rest also left. In an instant, only Huang Ling and the other three were left. Congratulations, Huang Ling. Through our efforts, we have finally helped you obtain the heart of the parasol tree. This trip was not in vain. Qin Yi said with a smile. Our efforts? Bah! Qin Yi, you still have the cheek to say that. Did you purposely let the 9th prince of the Golden Crow tribe injure Huangling? Mu Qingxue was unhappy and said with a sullen face, Mu Qingxue, what do you mean? I purposely let the 9th prince win? Don't accuse me without evidence. Qini said, Humph, you know whether you did it or not. Mu Qingxue snorted and then took Huangling's hand and said, Huangling, let's go. We don't have to care about such a despicable person. This kind of person is two-faced and two-faced. It's too dangerous to be close to him. Huangling smiled and then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, let's go. All right. Lu Ming nodded and walked side by side with Huangling and Mu Qingxue, heading back the way they came. Lu Ming and Huangling didn't even look at Qini. Damn it! Qini gnashed his teeth as a vicious look flashed across his eyes. Then he left as well. Not long after, they returned to the exit. After stepping into the vortex, they left. Huangling, congratulations on obtaining the heart of the parasol tree. When Lu Ming and the others came out, the old man from before said with a smile, Elder, you're too polite. Huangling bowed slightly. Yes, Huangling, the palace master wants to see you. I'll bring you there. The old man in the lead said, Palace master? Huangling's eyes lit up, and she said, Elder, Lu Ming also has something he wants to talk to the palace lord about. Can you bring him along to see the palace lord? Take him with us? I'll have to report this matter to the palace master and see what he thinks. Elder Wei said. Then I'll have to trouble you, Elder. Huangling bowed. Elder Wei took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a message. Not long after, a smile appeared on his face and he said, The palace master has agreed to see him. Come with me. Elder Wei stepped into the air and left. Lu Ming and Huangling followed him while Mu Qingxue went back alone. Not long after, they came to a grand hall. In the hall, a beautiful woman in palace attire sat. She had a kind face and a faint smile. She didn't emit any aura, but when Lu Ming approached her, his heart couldn't help but pound. His muscles tensed up and even his soul trembled slightly. How terrifying! Lu Ming was shocked. The other party's strength was absolutely earth-shattering and had reached an unimaginable realm. Just by approaching her and not emitting any aura, Lu Ming automatically felt a terrifying pressure. Was this the palace master of Phoenix Palace? There was no doubt that she was an emperor-level figure. Moreover, she was extremely terrifying among emperor-level figures. Greetings, palace master. The elder bowed respectfully. Huangling greets the palace master. Huangling also bowed. Junior Lu Ming greets the palace master. Lu Ming also cupped his fists. The palace master of Phoenix Palace nodded and said to the elder, You may leave. Yes, the elder retreated. Then the palace master of Phoenix Palace looked at Huangling, and the smile on her face widened. Huangling, you're very good. You really didn't disappoint me. Thank you, palace master. However, it was all thanks to Lu Ming's help that Huangling was able to obtain the heart of the parasol tree this time. After Huangling finished speaking, she took out a piece of wood with a phoenix dancing on it. It was extremely mysterious. This was the heart of the parasol tree. The palace master of Phoenix Palace waved her hand and put away the heart of the parasol tree. Huangling, if there's anything you don't understand in the future, feel free to look for me. Then she looked at Lu Ming and said, Little guy, I heard that you're looking for me. What's the matter? Palace master, it's because of the evil spirit sect. Lu Ming said. Evil spirit sect? The palace master of Phoenix Palace raised her brows. It's like this. Then Lu Ming recounted how the evil spirit sect had taken over Tsang State and killed Emperor Yin. Finally, he expressed that he wanted to ask Phoenix Palace to send experts to eliminate the evil spirit sect. The palace master of Phoenix Palace frowned and pondered for a moment before saying, Little guy, I'm afraid it's very difficult for me to agree to your request. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he asked anxiously, Palace master, why is that? Little guy, there's no harm in telling you. Some time ago, we discovered traces of an evil spirit, sect vice, sect master in the ancient moon's sacred ground, said the palace master of Phoenix Palace. Evil spirit, sect vice, sect master. Lu Ming and Huang Ling were shocked. Legend had it that the evil spirit, sect vice, sect master was a peerless and invincible figure. Who would have thought that such a figure was still alive and had reappeared? Therefore, during this period of time, I have to focus my attention on the evil spirit, sect, vice, sect master. There's another reason. Right now, the ancient moon's sacred ground is very complicated, and the competition is getting more and more intense. According to what you said, there are at least 2 or 3 emperor-level figures in the evil spirit sect and the D-clan. In order to eliminate the other party, we have to send at least twice as many emperor-level experts as the other party. Only then can we guarantee that we can eliminate the other party. Once Phoenix Palace sends out so many emperor-level experts, its own strength will be weakened, and it will give other factions an opportunity to take advantage of it. Therefore, it's very difficult for me to agree to this condition, said the palace master of Phoenix Palace. I see. Lu Ming sighed. He had long known that it would not be so easy to ask for help from the powerful ancient moon, sacred ground. These factions would first consider their own interests. If it would harm their own strength, they would most likely not agree. Just like what the palace master of Phoenix Palace had said, if Phoenix Palace sent out so many emperor-level experts, its strength would weaken and give other factions an opportunity to take advantage of it. Chapter 1758. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. It seemed that it was better to rely on oneself than on others. As long as one was strong, there was no need to seek help from others. Master, please bear with it for a while. Once I'm strong enough, I'll definitely return to save you. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. Little guy, change your condition. I'll do my best to fulfill it. Phoenix Palace's palace master said, seemingly feeling apologetic. Lu Ming composed himself and said, Palace master, I've killed a few thousand Slayer sect assassins and have the other party's killing mark on me. Senior, can you help me get rid of it? With the 1,000 Slayer sect's mark on him, he would be sensed by the other party within a certain range. If he encountered another 1,000 Slayer sect member, he would definitely be annoyed and would have to be on guard against being assassinated every day. That's easy. Phoenix Palace's palace master waved her hand. An ray of light enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt his entire body warm up. Then he saw a wisp of gray energy emerging from Lu Ming's body, constantly twisting and turning. It was very strange. This was the killing mark. Phoenix Palace's palace master gently pinched it, and the killing mark turned to dust. All right, the killing mark has been removed. Also, you've helped Huang Ling greatly this time and helped her obtain the heart of the parasol tree. You're a friend of Phoenix Palace and can stay in Phoenix Palace for a while longer. You can also freely enter some of Phoenix Palace's sacred cultivation grounds. Phoenix Palace's palace master smiled. Thank you, palace master. Lu Ming cupped his fists in gratitude. Although the other party did not agree to send experts to eliminate the remaining evil spirit sect members, the other party was an overlord and an arch-expert. Lu Ming could not continue asking. All right, you may leave. Let Huang Ling show you around. Phoenix Palace's palace master said. Then Lu Ming and Huang Ling bade farewell and left. Lu Ming, I'm sorry. Huang Ling said embarrassedly on the way back. It's nothing. Senior Palace Master also has to consider Phoenix Palace. I can understand. Lu Ming smiled. He knew that Huang Ling was referring to the fact that the Palace Master of Phoenix Palace did not send any experts to help. Lu Ming, there are some decent cultivation grounds in Phoenix Palace. I'll bring you around in a few days. You can stay in Phoenix Palace for a while. Huang Ling said. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them chatted for a while before parting ways. Lu Ming returned to his residence. After returning to the courtyard, Lu Ming released Bubble and let her play around by herself. Lu Ming went into seclusion to cultivate. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, two forces arrived at Phoenix Palace. These two forces were the Golden Crow clan and the Wan clan. A quasi-emperor from Phoenix Palace welcomed him. I wonder why the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan have come to Phoenix Palace. The quasi-emperor of Phoenix Palace asked. It's very simple. The Wan clan is here to ask Phoenix Palace for a person. An elder from the Wan clan spoke. Behind him were several middle-aged men and several youths. One of them was Wan Tianlong. My Golden Crow clan also wants a person from Phoenix Palace. The one who spoke was a middle-aged man dressed in golden robes. His eyes were cold and his aura was oppressive. There were several people behind this middle-aged man, including several youths. The 9th prince of the Golden Crow clan was among them. The Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor's expression darkened. What a joke! You two actually came to Phoenix Palace to ask for a person. Brother Huang, there's no need to be angry. The person my Wan clan wants is not a disciple of Phoenix Palace, but a youth called Lu Ming. He is currently staying in Phoenix Palace, the Wan clan elder said. Lu Ming? The Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor frowned. He knew that there was a youth called Lu Ming who was staying in Phoenix Palace. However, he was a guest of Phoenix Palace on the orders of the palace master. The person my Golden Crow clan wants is also this person, Lu Ming. The middle-aged man from the Golden Crow clan said coldly. Everyone, I'm afraid this won't do. Lu Ming is a guest of Phoenix Palace. Since he is a guest of Phoenix Palace, we must ensure his safety. The Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor said. Brother Huang, you'd better consider this carefully. My Wan clan is determined to obtain Lu Ming. This person cultivates our Wan clan's 10,000 weapon art. My Wan clan will not allow this. The Wan clan elder said coldly. This matter is non-negotiable. I've already said that since Lu Ming is a guest of Phoenix Palace, he is a guest of Phoenix Palace. If we hand Lu Ming over to you, what will others think of Phoenix Palace in the future? Everyone, please go back. The Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor said with an unyielding attitude. The Wan clan and Golden Crow clans, people had cold expressions. They had not expected Phoenix Palace to insist on protecting Lu Ming and not hand him over. However, the Wan clan head had instructed that Lu Ming could not be left alive. The Wan clan's 10,000 weapon art could not be cultivated by an outsider. Lu Ming, get out here. The Wan clan elder suddenly roared. His voice reverberated throughout the entire Phoenix Palace. Impudent, what are you doing? The Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor shouted, his expression changing. The other party was too impudent. How dare he shout in Phoenix Palace? At that moment, most of the people in Phoenix Palace were alarmed. Lu Ming was cultivating when he was startled awake by this shout. Who's there? Lu Ming's expression darkened as he looked in the direction of the voice. Then he soared into the air and rapidly flew in that direction. Soon, a large hall appeared before his eyes. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, many figures also flew in this direction. Lu Ming! A delicate voice called out. It was Huang Ling. She had also appeared here. Lu Ming, the Wan clan and Golden Crow clan are here. They want Phoenix Palace to hand you over. Huang Ling hurriedly transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. The Wan clan and Golden Crow clan. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he walked toward the large hall. As he approached the large hall, he saw two groups of people hovering in the air outside the hall. They were the Wan clan and Golden Crow clan. He's Lu Ming. Wan Tianlong pointed at Lu Ming. The Wan clan and Golden Crow clan's people simultaneously looked at Lu Ming. Brat, you're Lu Ming. Now, follow me back to the Wan clan. The Wan clan has something to answer to you. The Wan clan elder said coldly in a commanding tone. It was as if Lu Ming had to do as he said. I have nothing to answer to the Wan clan. Moreover, I'm living very well in Phoenix Palace. I have no interest in going to the Wan clan with you. Lu Ming said. The Wan clan elder's face darkened and a sharp glint flashed across his eyes. Brat, don't play dumb. You've cultivated the Wan clan's art of 10,000 weapons. You must answer for this. The Wan clan's art of 10,000 weapons does not allow outsiders to cultivate it, unless you destroy your own cultivation. The Wan clan will not pursue this matter. Ho, so this is the reason. Then, why is the Golden Crow clan looking for me? Lu Ming looked at the Golden Crow clan's people. You must be punished for insulting the Golden Crow clan. The Golden Crow clan's middle-aged man's reply was simple. Ha, what a joke. This is the biggest joke in the world. Chapter 1759. Kid, what did you say? The Wan family elder's eyes shone brightly. The eyes of the middle-aged man from the Golden Crow clan turned golden and sharp. Firstly, the Wan family. Let me ask you, other than the 10,000 soldier art, does the Wan family cultivate other martial skills and cultivation techniques? Lu Ming's voice was powerful, and he was not afraid at all. Nonsense, of course we cultivate, the Wan family elder said. Since you cultivate are the cultivation techniques and martial skills that the Wan family cultivates are all created by the Wan family, aren't you just taking other people's cultivation techniques? As for the 10,000 weapon art that I cultivate, I obtained it when someone from your Wan clan tried to kill me in the 100 clan battlefield. I killed him and took the 10,000 weapon art. This is my spoils of war. If your Wan clan can cultivate other people's cultivation methods and martial skills, why can't I cultivate the 10,000 weapon art? Lu Ming's clear voice resounded throughout the area, leaving the Wan family speechless. If they could cultivate other people's cultivation techniques and martial skills, why couldn't Lu Ming cultivate the Wan family's 10,000 soldier art? And you guys, you're here for the Golden Crow Ninth Prince, right? That's even more ridiculous. He lost in a battle of the same generation and came to find me. Then, you Golden Crows shouldn't come out. Otherwise, if you're defeated by others, all the old and big ones will come to find you. Lu Ming looked at the Golden Crow clan, causing the Ninth Prince's face to turn red. You can defeat him, but you shouldn't humiliate the Crown Prince of the Golden Crow clan. The middle-aged man from the Golden Crow clan looked even colder. Humiliate? Ridiculous. I only stripped him of his fur. In a battle, swords have no eyes. How can I control it so well? Lu Ming said. Excuses. Today, you must come with me to the Golden Crow clan. The middle-aged man from the Golden Crow clan said forcefully. That's right. It doesn't matter how glib your tongue is. Let me tell you, I don't care about other cultivation techniques and martial skills, but you can't cultivate the 10,000 soldier art. You must destroy it, the Wan family elder said in an even more overbearing manner. Goodbye, Lu Ming sneered. He could not be bothered to waste his breath and turned to leave. The Wan family and the Golden Crow clan were unreasonable, so why should he say anything more? You want to leave? Stay. The old man from the Wan clan shouted, and a terrifying aura erupted from his body. That was the aura of a quasi-emperor. It was incomparably powerful, and it pressed down on Lu Ming. Instantly, Lu Ming felt an irresistible pressure pressing down on him, as though he was about to explode. Enough! A look of displeasure flashed across the Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor's face. With a wave of her hand, a powerful aura rushed out and blocked the aura of the Wan clan elder. Lu Ming relaxed and let out a long breath. A quasi-emperor was too strong. It was not something he could resist at all. This is Phoenix Palace. You've gone too far. The Phoenix Palace quasi-emperor said coldly. A few more elders from Phoenix Palace descended from the sky and glared at the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan with unfriendly eyes. Is Phoenix Palace really going to offend my Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan because of this Lu Ming? The old man from the Wan clan said in a deep voice. Lu Ming is a guest of Phoenix Palace. Since he's a guest of Phoenix Palace, he can't be taken away by you. The quasi-emperor of Phoenix Palace also became more aggressive. The people from the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan had ugly expressions. Humph, Lu Ming, if you have the ability, hide in Phoenix Palace forever and never come out. A youth from the Wan clan said. This person was dressed in a purple gold robe and exuded a noble aura. His aura was even more extraordinary than Wan Tianlong's. What a joke! What else can your Wan clan rely on other than the older generation? If they're of the same generation as me, I'll crush them all on sight. Lu Ming replied forcefully. Arrogant, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Very well, I'll challenge you now. If you lose, you'll cripple your own cultivation. Do you dare fight me? The youth from the Wan clan said with a cold glint in his eyes. Lu Ming, don't accept his challenge. This person is called Wan Tianbing. He has a middle-grade heaven spiritual body, and his cultivation has reached the peak of the bright sage realm. He's many times stronger than Wan Tianlong. Huang Ling hurriedly sent a message to Lu Ming. Wan Tianbing was very famous among the younger generation of the ancient moon, sacred ground. He had a middle-grade heaven spiritual body, and there were only a few youths in the ancient moon, sacred ground. Middle-grade heaven spiritual body. Lu Ming sneered. His eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he said, All right, I accept your challenge. However, I'm afraid that if I defeat you, a bunch of old men from the Wan clan will come and find trouble with me. Don't worry. If you win, the Wan clan will not interfere with your cultivation of the 10,000 weapon art. The elder from the Wan clan said. He seemed to be very confident in Wan Tianbing. All right. Then Lu Ming looked at the Golden Crow clan and said, What about you? Is there anyone who wants to challenge me? I'll accept all of your challenges. I'll challenge you. A youth beside the 9th prince of the Golden Crow clan walked out with an arrogant look on his face. Lu Ming, this is the 6th prince of the Golden Crow clan. His strength and talent are on par with Wan Tianbing's. Huang Ling hurriedly sent a message to Lu Ming. All right, you and Wan Tianbing can come at me together. I'm too lazy to fight one by one. I'll deal with all of you together, Lu Ming said. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present was dumbfounded. Lu Ming wanted to fight the 6th prince of the Golden Crow clan and Wan Tianbing at the same time? The 6th prince of the Golden Crow clan and Wan Tianbing were famous among the younger generation of the ancient moon, sacred ground. They had middle-class heaven spiritual bodies and were almost invincible among those of the same level. And now, Lu Ming wanted to fight both of them at the same time. Haha, arrogant, really arrogant. I've seen arrogant people, but I've never seen such arrogant people. Wan Tianbing laughed mockingly. Nonsense. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Just say it. If you don't, then get lost. Lu Ming scolded. All right, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. 6th prince, what about you? Wan Tianbing said coldly as he looked at the 6th prince of the Golden Crow clan. Since he wants to die, I'll fulfill his wish. Since so many people have seen it, I don't want them to say that we're bullying him with numbers. The 6th prince of the Golden Crow clan said coldly. All right, but I'll set the time. Lu Ming said. You can set the time. If you set it 100 years later or 1,000 years later, how can we compete? Wan Tianbing sneered. How about the battle at Lake Phoenix a month later? Lu Ming said. A month later? All right, I agree. I agree too. Wan Tiancheng and the 6th prince of the Golden Crow clan said one after another. Could Lu Ming turn the tables in a month? Moreover, they had to join forces. Lu Ming had no hope of winning. They had heard about Lu Ming's performance in the Phoenix Nest. However, they had middle-class heaven spiritual bodies and had reached the perfect, bright, divine realm. Their superpowers were powerful and could easily crush those of the same level, such as Huang Jian. Therefore, they didn't take Lu Ming seriously at all. Even if they were alone, they were confident that they could suppress Lu Ming, let alone the two of them. Since Lu Ming was hiding in the Phoenix Palace, they would use the challenge to kill Lu Ming. Let's fight at Lake Phoenix a month later. Everyone, please. Lu Ming waved his sleeves and turned to leave. Chapter 1760. Lu Ming, you're being too impulsive. If you stay at the Phoenix Palace, they won't be able to do anything to you. Huang Ling caught up to Lu Ming and said worriedly, It's fine. My cultivation is about to have a breakthrough. I might be able to fight them. Lu Ming said. After cultivating for such a long time, Lu Ming's cultivation was very close to the greater success stage of the bright sacred realm. He would be able to achieve the greater success stage of the bright sacred realm after some time. Once he achieved the greater success stage of the bright sacred realm, his strength would improve further. This was the reason why he suggested to fight in a month's time. A month was enough for him to have a breakthrough. Oh, I see. Lu Ming, I'll bring you to a place that might give you a better chance in a month's time. Huang Ling said. Where is it? The mystical jade disc, a sacred cultivation ground of the Phoenix Palace. It can help one to cultivate their mystical skills. However, everyone only has one chance in their life. It depends on one's comprehension. The higher one's comprehension, the greater the benefits. Huang Ling said. The mystical jade disc? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Huang Ling brought Lu Ming to a huge cave. The entrance of the cave was guarded by experts of the Phoenix Palace. However, the palace master of the Phoenix Palace had mentioned that Lu Ming could enter some sacred cultivation grounds to cultivate. Thus, no one stopped him, and he entered the cave smoothly. Inside the cave was a huge stone chamber. On one side of the chamber was a huge jade disc that was over 100 meters long and wide. The jade disc was as smooth as a mirror, reflecting one's reflection. This is the mystical jade disc. Lu Ming, execute your mystical skills and attack the jade disc. It will do, Huang Ling said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He sat down with his legs crossed and executed the chaotic calamity finger. A giant finger pointed at the mystical jade disc. Lu Ming did not hold back. Huang Ling had told him clearly that the jade disc was extremely magical. No mystique could harm the jade disc. As expected, when the primal chaos tribulation finger touched the jade wall, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean. It directly disappeared. In the next moment, Lu Ming discovered that the jade wall was emitting a resplendent light. It was as if there was a terrifying power acting on Lu Ming, pulling Lu Ming towards the jade wall. Lu Ming's body directly entered the jade disc and disappeared. Lu Ming seemed to have passed through layers of voids and arrived in the starry sky of the universe. Boom! Suddenly, the starry sky rumbled, and an incomparably huge finger formed. The color of primal chaos lingered on it, and it was even bigger than a star. It pointed at Lu Ming. Primal chaos tribulation finger. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, this chaos tribulation finger was too powerful and mysterious. It was dozens or even hundreds of times more powerful than what Lu Ming had displayed. It can actually increase the power of my mystique by so many times. Amazing, really amazing. Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart. His eyes were fixed on the primal chaos tribulation finger. Boom! The primal chaos tribulation finger pointed at Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's mind rumbled, and a huge primal chaos tribulation finger seemed to have appeared in his mind. Lu Ming could not help but close his eyes and focus on comprehending the primal chaos tribulation finger. Time flew by. Day after day passed. In the blink of an eye, 25 days had passed. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes and found that he was still sitting cross-legged on the mystical jade disc. Huang Ling was also sitting beside him. Obviously, she was waiting for him. Lu Ming, you're awake. I didn't expect you to be able to comprehend it for 25 days. Huang Ling blinked her eyes in surprise. Has it been 25 days? Lu Ming said in a low voice. Yes, when others come to the mystical jade disc, they usually wake up within 10 days. Back then, I only took 20 days. I didn't expect you to have 5 more days than me. How is it? How is the effect? Huang Ling asked. Not bad. My cultivation base has also broken through unknowingly. Lu Ming smiled. He found that his cultivation base had broken through and reached the great success stage of the Bright Sage realm while he was comprehending the primal chaos tribulation finger. The mystical jade disc is really amazing. It's a pity that each person only has one chance in their life. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. After 25 days of comprehension, the primal chaos tribulation finger had increased from 18% to 33%. It had increased by 15%. It was very difficult to improve a mystique art. It required a lot of time to comprehend it, especially in the later stages. Many senior figures and absolute saints would usually spend thousands or even tens of thousands of years to improve by 10%. As for the primal chaos tribulation finger, it was even more difficult to improve. It was several times more difficult than a mystique art that was based on ordinary laws. Being able to improve by 15% had saved Lu Ming a lot of time. However, each person only had one chance to use the mystical jade disc. It would not be effective the second time. Otherwise, it would be heaven-defying. Are you confident in dealing with the 6th Golden Crow Prince and Wan Tianbing? Huang Ling asked. Of course. Lu Ming smiled and said, You care about me that much? Huang Ling blushed slightly and said, You are my friend. Of course I care about you. After saying that, he walked out. Lu Ming smiled and followed Huang Ling out of the cave. Then, Lu Ming returned to his residence. There were still 5 days left. He could consolidate his cultivation base and cultivate the 10,000 weapon art at the same time. If his cultivation base increased, he could seal more sacred weapons. Lu Ming took out a great sacred weapon and started to seal it. In a secret room in the Wan family, Wan Tianbing was also sealing a sacred weapon. The difference was that he was not sealing a great sacred weapon, but an absolute sacred weapon. His entire body glowed, and a spot of light shone brightly. Beside him, an elder sat cross-legged, exuding a terrifying aura. This person was an emperor-level expert. An absolute sacred weapon floated in the elder's hand. The elder was helping Wan Tianbing seal the absolute sacred weapon. With Wan Tianbing's cultivation base, he could not seal the absolute sacred weapon at all. His body would be torn apart by the terrifying aura of the absolute sacred weapon. However, with the help of an emperor-level expert, it was different. An emperor-level expert could help him consolidate his acupoints and help him seal the absolute sacred weapon. 2 days later, Wan Tianbing succeeded in sealing the absolute sacred weapon. Tianbing, although I have helped you seal it successfully, the absolute sacred weapon is too powerful. You can't use it for too long, or it will be harmful to your body. You have to use it carefully. The emperor-level elder instructed. Yes, Patriarch. Wan Tianbing bowed, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming was doomed this time. There was no chance at all. At the same time, the Golden Crow 6th Prince was also undergoing some kind of secret cultivation. This time, the news of Lu Ming's battle with the Golden Crow 6th Prince and Wan Tianbing spread throughout the ancient moon, sacred ground. The cause and effect were also dug up and spread like wildfire. Many people were paying attention. Lu Ming cultivated the Wan family's 10,000 weapon art. Lu Ming plucked all the feathers of the Golden Crow 9th Prince. This was the cause of the conflict. Therefore, the Wan family and the Golden Crow clan paid special attention to this. They could only win, not lose. Chapter 1761. The mountain where Phoenix Palace was located was called Phoenix Mountain. There was a lake at the edge of Phoenix Mountain called Phoenix Lake. On this day, Phoenix Lake was crowded with people early in the morning. Someone had challenged 2 outstanding sky prides of the ancient moon, sacred ground. Many people were curious as to who would be so bold to challenge 2 sky prides at the same time. How powerful was this person? Many young sky prides, and even some of the older generation, were very curious. They gathered around Phoenix Lake and waited for the battle to begin. The people from Phoenix Palace are here. Someone shouted. Many people looked in the direction of Phoenix Palace and saw a group of people flying in their direction. Most of them were young, but there were also some older people with strong auras. Which one is Lu Ming? Someone asked. The black-robed young man standing beside Huang Ling is Lu Ming. Oh, it seems that his cultivation is not very high. He is only in the great sage realm. He is very bold to challenge the 6th Golden Crow Prince and Wan Tianbing. Someone spoke. There were seniors here with extremely high cultivation levels. There were even quasi-emperors. Although Lu Ming used the illusory breath technique to hide his cultivation level, the difference in their cultivation levels was too great and he could still be seen through. What? He is only in the great sage realm? That's right. However, I heard rumors that Lu Ming is most likely the son of chaos. What? The son of chaos? Is that true? The son of chaos, one of the Elysian sons? It might be true. Otherwise, how could he have cultivated the Wan family's art of 10,000 soldiers? However, even if he is the son of chaos or the other Elysian sons, he only represents potential. Before he grows up, he will still be killed by others. As soon as Lu Ming and the others arrived, there was a lot of discussion. This showed how popular this battle was during this period. In particular, there were all kinds of rumors about Lu Ming's identity. Lu Ming, you can do it. I believe you will win. Huang Ling cheered for Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and descended from the sky. He landed on Phoenix Lake and stood on the surface of the lake, waiting quietly. Rip. At that moment, the sky in the distance was illuminated by streaks of lightning. The streaks of lightning seemed to split the sky into pieces. Then, when the lightning disappeared, there was already a group of people on Lake Phoenix. The people from the Thunder God sect have arrived, someone whispered. The Thunder God sect was one of the most powerful forces in the ancient Moon, Holy Land. Lu Ming, I hope you'll be victorious. Within the Thunder God sect, a young man spoke, and his voice reverberated throughout the entire place. Brother Yi, when I win, let's go have a drink. Lu Ming smiled. The young man who spoke was none other than Yi Dongfang. This caused many people to raise their eyebrows. Lu Ming was also familiar with a genius from the Thunder God sect? What wishful thinking. You have no chance of winning. A cold voice rang out, and a group of people with noble auras stepped through the air. The experts of the Wan clan had arrived. Quite a few people from the Wan clan came. There were young geniuses and older generation figures. They were all experts. Among them, Wan Tianbing stepped through the air and landed on the lake, facing Lu Ming. Lu Ming, originally, I could have killed you alone, but since you wanted to fight me and the 6th Golden Crow Prince, I'll let you die in peace. Wan Tianbing sneered. Strength is not determined by words. Lu Ming said lightly, Kaboom! At that moment, the sky rumbled as if a giant beast was stepping on the void. In fact, that was the case. 9 colossal statues that were 100 meters tall and had jade-like bodies pulled a huge chariot that crushed the void as it approached. Roar! 9 100-meter-tall colossi stopped not far away, giving people a strong visual impact. The people from the Divine Elephant sect are here too, someone said with a solemn expression. There were many powerful forces in the ancient Moon Holy Land, but there were also differences in strength. The Divine Elephant sect was one of the most powerful forces. Lu Ming also looked toward the chariot. If he remembered correctly, Long Chen had been rescued by a terrifying expert from the Divine Elephant sect. At that moment, a group of people stepped out of the chariot. There were not many of them, only a dozen. The person in the lead was a young man with an ordinary appearance, but his eyes were like lightning, and he had a domineering aura. Long Chin. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He did not expect to see Long Chin. Long Chin looked around and saw Lu Ming, and he smiled. Lu Ming, long time no see. Long Chin said with a deep voice, but there was a hint of excitement. He and Lu Ming both came from the divine wilderness continent. At that moment, they were far away, so it was inevitable that they would be excited to meet an old friend. Yes, long time no see. Long Chin, let's catch up after this battle. Lu Ming smiled. Long Chin nodded and stood aside with the people from the divine elephant sect. Lu Ming knew the people from the divine elephant sect. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming knew quite a lot of people. At that moment, a sword light flashed across the sky, and the experts from the Great Baron Sword sect arrived. Then, the Sky Bird Palace and the Huda sect also arrived. They were all powerful forces from the sacred grounds. Most of the powerful forces probably came because they heard about the Son of Chaos. Caw, caw. At that moment, dozens of golden lights shot toward them from the distance. They were dozens of three-legged golden crows. The people of the golden crows had arrived. Dozens of three-legged golden crows stopped in the sky above Lake Phoenix. Their bodies were surrounded by golden sun fire, as if dozens of suns had appeared in the sky. Swish! One of the three-legged golden crows flapped its wings and flew down to Lake Phoenix, standing side by side with Wan Tianbing. Its golden eyes emitted cold light as it stared at Lu Ming. It was the sixth golden crow prince. Wan Tianbing, leave this guy to me. The sixth golden crow prince said arrogantly, leave it to you. Wan Tianbing narrowed his eyes. That's right. I can kill Lu Ming alone. The voice of the sixth golden crow prince sounded. Then he flapped his wings and flew toward Lu Ming like a beam of golden light. He flapped his wings, and the divine fire of the great sun cut through the void like a blade, slashing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped on the surface of the lake and rushed toward the sixth golden crow prince like lightning. He slashed with his hand, and the flaming blade was instantly shattered. Lu Ming's hand didn't stop and clashed with the sixth golden crow prince's wings. Bang! It was as if two giant mountains had collided with each other. The powerful force immediately stirred up thousands of waves in Lake Phoenix. Kill! Divine Sun destroys the world. The sixth golden crow prince shouted. The divine sun fire on his body was burning fiercely. Even the space around him was distorted. His body shrank into a ball as if he had really turned into a sun and smashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated the law of chaos around his body and performed the heaven-suppressing hell art. He turned his hand into a fist and punched continuously. Chapter 1762. Dong! 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 Terrifying collisions were heard continuously. The two of them clashed more than 100 times, and the sixth golden crow prince flew far away like a rubber ball. He spread his wings and flapped them frantically a few times before he finally stopped. Lu Ming is so strong. He's covered in a layer of chaotic light. He's not afraid of the divine fire of the golden crows at all. The law of primal chaos. It's really the law of primal chaos. Lu Ming is really the son of primal chaos. The son of primal chaos, one of the sons of primal chaos, actually appeared in the ancient moon's sacred ground. I heard that the son of death and the son of eternity also appeared in Celestial City. Not only the sons of primal chaos, but there are also many king physiques in Celestial City. It's too shocking. A great era is coming. The era of the sons of primal chaos and the kings of primal chaos is coming. Many of the older generation figures sighed. You alone are not enough. Wan Tianbing, come at me together. Lu Ming's indifferent voice sounded. As you wish. Wan Tianbing said coldly. Light spots lit up all over his body, and sacred weapons flew out one after another. There were more than 100 weapons in total. Among them, there were 3 great sacred weapons. Wan Tianbing held a great saint-level battle sword in his hand. His battle weapon qi gathered, and his aura was terrifying. The sharp aura stirred up terrifying sword scars in Lake Phoenix. Swoosh! Wan Tianbing was surrounded by sacred weapons, and he charged at Lu Ming. The sword light was shocking, and it slashed at Lu Ming's vital points. Die! The sixth golden crow prince roared. He flapped his wings and charged at Lu Ming like a ray of golden light. Before he arrived, the blazing divine fire of the divine sun had already charged at Lu Ming. At the same time, the three-legged golden crow's claws were extremely sharp, and they clawed at Lu Ming. The three-legged golden crow's third claw was extremely terrifying. It was said to be indestructible and could crush sacred weapons. Chaotic Calamity Finger. Lu Ming pointed out two claws consecutively, using 20% of the Chaotic Calamity Finger. Two huge fingers formed and pointed at the sixth Golden Crow Prince and Wan Tianbing. Boom! Boom! After two explosions, Wan Tianbing and the sixth Golden Crow Prince shuddered and slid backward, leaving two terrifying airwaves in the air. Many people gasped. Lu Ming was so powerful. He could actually force Wan Tianbing and the Golden Crow sixth prince into a disadvantageous position. It was too shocking. Most importantly, Lu Ming's cultivation level was only at the phenomenal Bright Sage realm, while Wan Tianbing and the sixth Golden Crow Prince were already at the perfected Bright Sage realm. They were about to enter the Great Sage realm. Even with such a high level of cultivation, he was still no match for him. The members of the Golden Crow clan's Wan family had ugly expressions on their faces. As expected of the son of primal chaos, his battle prowess is simply too astonishing. In a battle of the same level, other than the other princes and kings, no one can match him. An old man exclaimed in amazement. Many young geniuses turned pale. This level of battle prowess was much stronger than theirs. Kill! Kill! Wan Tianbing and the sixth Golden Crow Prince roared. They couldn't lose this battle. More light spots lit up on Wan Tianbing's body. More sacred weapons flew out, making his battle prowess even stronger. A sun really appeared above the sixth Golden Crow Prince's head. It shone brightly and emitted terrifying power. Be destroyed by my sun, the sixth Golden Crow Prince yelled. The sun blasted toward Lu Ming as if it was really a sun that was going to burn Lu Ming. This was the sixth Golden Crow Prince's divine power, and its power had reached 40%. The power of a divine power at 40% was absolutely terrifying. Once this move was used, ordinary great sage perfection experts, no matter how many of them there were, would all die and be burned to ashes. Ordinary great sage minor mastery experts would also have to retreat and not dare to take it head-on if their mastery of the magical power was not deep enough. Chaotic Calamity Finger. The law of chaos flowed on Lu Ming's body as he pointed out a finger. The law of chaos in the world was controlled. Endless energy gathered toward Lu Ming's finger. The energy within 100 miles seemed to have been sucked dry. A huge finger pointed toward the sixth Golden Crow Prince, like a god's finger. The finger collided with the blazing sun in the sky. At this moment, dazzling light exploded in the sky, making people unable to open their eyes. Some of the weaker ones even teared up. Boom! Then there was an explosion like a sun exploding. The chaotic calamity finger didn't stop. It continued to move forward and hit the sixth Golden Crow Prince heavily. The sixth Golden Crow Prince screamed and flew far away. His blood spilled over Lake Phoenix, and golden feathers filled the sky. The sixth Golden Crow Prince was severely injured. After Lu Ming used the chaotic calamity finger, he stepped into the sky and rushed toward Wan Tianbing with his sacred weapon circling around him. Wan Tianbing also rushed toward Lu Ming. Both of them used the 10,000 weapon spell. The chi of battle weapons gathered and clashed with each other. A beam of chi of battle weapons shot up into the sky like a light pillar and shone with the exploding sun. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. He used the divine sword spell, and 2 beams of sword light shot out from his eyes. Although Wan Tianbing was a genius and had a powerful soul power and soul defense treasures, Lu Ming's cultivation had improved. His soul power had become stronger, which would affect Wan Tianbing. Wan Tianbing's eyes flashed with pain as he used the divine sword spell. Whoosh! Lu Ming wielded a great sage-level combat sword and slashed at Wan Tianbing. Wan Tianbing roared and fought back with all his might. He also slashed out a beam of sword light. Their swords clashed, and the sky buzzed. Then a figure quickly retreated. It was Wan Tianbing. He had been suppressed by Lu Ming in a head-on clash. Kill! Lu Ming continued to charge toward Wan Tianbing. His aura was like a rainbow, and his murderous aura soared to the sky, spreading in all directions. Wan Tianbing fought back with all his might. Clang! 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 The two continued to clash, but Wan Tianbing had to take a few steps back every time they clashed. After dozens of moves, he had taken a few hundred steps back. His arms began to tremble. Lu Ming die. Wan Tianbing looked ferocious. An aperture between his eyebrows shone brightly. Then a huge battle axe appeared, exuding terrifying energy waves. An absolute saint weapon. That's an absolute saint weapon. How could Wan Tianbing seal an absolute saint weapon? Someone exclaimed. It must be an emperor-level expert helping him. Otherwise, Wan Tianbing wouldn't be able to seal an absolute saint weapon with his cultivation. The absolute saint weapon would tear his body apart. That's right. Lu Ming is in danger. Wan Tianbing isn't much weaker than him. Once the absolute saint weapon appears, Lu Ming won't be able to resist it. Huang Ling, Mu Qingxue, and the others looked worried. Long Chen's eyes shone brightly. He wasn't worried at all. Die. Wan Tianbing slashed with the absolute saint weapon, the battle axe. The void shook as if it was going to be split open. Clang! Chapter 1763. An absolute sacred weapon is indeed powerful. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He realized that there was a crack in his battle sword. A supreme sacred weapon was indeed no match for an absolute sacred weapon. Wan Tianbing was invigorated after suppressing Lu Ming with one strike. He appeared in front of Lu Ming in the blink of an eye and chopped down with his battle axe again. Clang! This time, Lu Ming was also sent flying. There was even a crack on his battle sword. Kill! Kill Lu Ming! Wan Tianbing, kill him in one go. A young man from the Wan family shouted. An old man said coldly, Kill! Wan Tianbing's morale was high. His battle axe was like a storm as he chopped down at Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand. 2 sacred weapon shields flew out and blocked in front of him. Bang! Bang! The battle axe chopped down, and the 2 sacred weapon shields were split in half. Sacred weapons were as fragile as tofu in front of an absolute sacred weapon. Clang! Clang! Lu Ming was knocked back by 2 consecutive moves. Wan Tianbing, with your cultivation, your body won't last long if you seal an absolute sacred weapon and use it. You'll suffer a backlash, Lu Ming said. His voice was still very calm. It's enough to kill you. Wan Tianbing roared and attacked wildly. Indeed, he could not afford to waste any more time. Just like what Lu Ming had said, he could feel the terrifying pressure. The powerful aura of the battle soldier was tearing his body apart at every moment. A layer of fine blood beads had already seeped out of his skin. He had to get rid of Lu Ming as soon as possible. Is that so? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then his forehead glowed and a Tai Chi array disc appeared. Go! Lu Ming waved his hand. The Tai Chi array disc shone brightly. A Tai Chi pattern flowed on its surface and suppressed Wan Tianbing. Clang! Wan Tianbing's axe heavily struck the Taiji disc. The Taiji disc shone even more resplendently. It shook violently and was sent flying back. However, There was not a single mark on the Taiji disc. How could this be? Wan Tianbing's eyes widened in disbelief. What kind of treasure was Lu Ming's? It could even block a holy weapon, and it didn't even leave a scratch on it. Then he charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out the Tai Chi array disc to block the attacks. Although the Tai Chi array disc would be sent flying every time, it managed to block Wan Tianbing's attacks, and he was not injured at all. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. The Tai Chi array disc was most likely an emperor-level treasure. It was just that Lu Ming was still unable to unleash its full power. "Break for me!" Wan Tianbing roared as he crazily slashed at Lu Ming. However, every time he was blocked by the Taiji array disc. The Wan family members' faces darkened. Lu Ming is truly outstanding. He has mastered the law of primal chaos. He is undoubtedly the son of primal chaos, an old woman from Phoenix Palace exclaimed, her eyes filled with admiration. The son of primal chaos is known as one of the sons of primal chaos. He has great providence, and his talent is heaven-defying. Since ancient times, any son of primal chaos who has mastered the 10 strongest laws would have unimaginable achievements as long as they didn't die. This child is very close to Huangling. Since that's the case, our Phoenix Palace can only befriend him and not offend him. If he matures in the future, it will only be beneficial to our Phoenix Palace. That's right. Several elders of Phoenix Palace spoke, communicating through voice transmissions. Whoosh! At this moment, a terrifying sonic boom came from behind Lu Ming. The Golden Crow, 6th Prince, was charging at him again. "How dare you sneak attack me when you're injured? I'll kill you," Lu Ming said coldly. The Grand Saint weapon in his hand suddenly slashed behind him. Now, there were 6 Grand Saint weapons sealed in Lu Ming's body. They were extremely powerful. With one slash, a shrill scream sounded. Golden feathers flew everywhere. One of the Golden Crow 6th Prince's wings had been cut off by Lu Ming. The Golden Crow 6th Prince had already been injured by Lu Ming. Naturally, he was no match for Lu Ming. The Golden Crow 6th Prince paled in fright. He desperately flapped his remaining wing and retreated. Primal Chaos Finger. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the Golden Crow 6th Prince's wing. Then he pointed a finger. A terrifying finger pointed at the Golden Crow 6th Prince. The Golden Crow 6th Prince was terrified. He desperately tried to escape, but it was too late. The Primal Chaos Finger was rapidly approaching him. Whoosh! At this moment, a golden light flashed and hit the Primal Chaos Finger. It broke the Primal Chaos Finger and allowed the Golden Crow 6th Prince to escape. It was an elder from the Golden Crow clan who had saved the Golden Crow 6th Prince. How despicable! Mu Qingxue was straightforward. Her voice spread throughout the area. The Golden Crow expert glanced coldly at Mu Qingxue. He didn't say anything. Lu Ming glanced coldly at the Golden Crows. He didn't chase after the Golden Crow 6th Prince. Instead, he looked at Wan Tianbing. Right now, Wan Tianbing's eyes were bloodshot. He was bathed in blood. This wasn't Lu Ming's blood. It was his own. He'd been torn out by the backlash of the ultimate saint weapon. The backlash was getting stronger and stronger. Wan Tianbing couldn't take it anymore. Suddenly, Wan Tianbing's body shook. He spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura quickly weakened. Die! Lu Ming wouldn't miss this opportunity. The Tai Chi formation floated above his head. He held his battle sword and charged at Wan Tianbing. Wan Tianbing could only barely raise his battle axe to block the attack. Clang! Wan Tianbing's body was sent flying like a cannonball. He couldn't even hold onto his battle axe. The battle axe shook and flew out of his hand. Lu Ming stepped into the air. His saint power swept up Wan Tianbing's battle axe and put it into his storage ring. At the same time, he continued to charge at Wan Tianbing with his battle sword. Wan Tianbing was suffering from the backlash. His body was about to be torn apart. He was severely injured. How could he block Lu Ming's attack? No. Wan Tianbing yelled. Enough! An elder from the Wan family stepped out. With a wave of his hand, a stream of saint power wrapped around Wan Tianbing like a ribbon and pulled him behind him. Then a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He struck out with his palm, and a huge palm print blasted toward Lu Ming, intending to kill him. Oh no! Lu Ming's expression changed. He didn't expect the other party to be so despicable. Not only did he interfere, but he also attacked him. Although it was just a casual attack, the other party's cultivation was too high. Its power was still terrifying. Buzz! The Tai Chi formation above Lu Ming's head vibrated. It shone brightly and grew rapidly. It rushed toward the huge palm print. At the same time, Lu Ming unleashed all his strength. He pointed out with his finger. The power of the chaotic calamity finger was fully unleashed. A huge, chaotic calamity finger pointed forward. His body quickly retreated. Boom! Chapter 1764. The giant palm didn't stop there. It continued to smash down and collided with the chaotic finger of calamity. The chaotic finger of calamity emitted chaotic light and was extremely powerful. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was still too weak. He couldn't block the palm and collapsed. However, after continuous resistance, the other party's palm print had been weakened by a large part. The remaining palm energy continued to blast toward Lu Ming. Block it! Lu Ming retreated while blocking with all his strength. More than 100 sacred weapons floated in front of him. A layer of dragon scales appeared on the surface of his body. The law of chaos flowed on the dragon scales. Boom! The palm swept over and crushed everything. Lu Ming's body shook violently and retreated 1,000 meters. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face was pale. There was a cold glint in the eyes of the elder from the Wan family. His palm did not kill Lu Ming. Instead, it only injured Lu Ming. He slashed out with his palm. This time it was a sword gleam. It was stunning, as if it could break through everything. At that moment, the cry of a phoenix sounded. A ray of light flew out and blocked the sword light. The Wan family elder looked at the Phoenix Palace and said coldly, "Why? Does the Phoenix Palace want to stop me?" Nonsense. The Golden Crow clan is shameless, but the Wan family is even more shameless. The younger generation can't defeat Lu Ming, so you attacked the older generation. How despicable. Mu Qingxue cursed. Shut up, the Wan family elder scolded. Shut up? You're despicable and shameless. But you don't allow others to talk about you. Mu Qingxue shouted. The force behind Mu Qingxue was also very powerful. She wasn't afraid of the Wan family at all. Qingxue is right. A month ago, Lu Ming challenged Wan Tianbing and the Golden Crow sixth prince to a battle. It was a battle of the younger generation. But now, not only did you save Wan Tianbing, but you also attacked Lu Ming. Don't you think that's too much? Huang Ling added. It's not just excessive, it's simply shameless. Just now, Wan Tianbing had the upper hand, so he shouted at Lu Ming to kill him. When Wan Tianbing was no match for him, the older generation stepped in to save him. They even directly attacked Lu Ming. This is the way of the Wan clan. I've really learned something new, Long Chin said coldly. After being mocked by several juniors, the expert from the Wan clan had an extremely ugly expression on his face. Then the expert from the Wan family looked at Lu Ming and scolded. Boy, hand over the ultimate holy weapon, the battle axe, and I will spare your life. Spare my life? Ha ha ha, what a joke. Lu Ming laughed uproariously as he stepped into the air, facing the Wan clan's expert head-on. I've never imagined that a holy ground like the Wan clan could be so shameless. How can such a force be called a holy ground? What a joke. Today, I fought against Wan Tianbing and the sixth Golden Crow Prince. If I'm no match for them, I'll just be killed. If they're no match for me, you have no right to interfere. Moreover, that battle axe is my spoils of war. What right do you have to take it back? How dare you insult the Wan clan? You're courting death. The Wan clan's expert's eyes emitted cold, murderous intent as he stepped forward. A terrifying aura pressed down on Lu Ming. However, an elder from the Phoenix Palace also stepped forward and blocked the Wan clan's expert with his aura. Is the Phoenix Palace determined to go against the Wan clan? The Wan clan's elder said coldly, "Do you think the Phoenix Palace is afraid?" An old woman from the Phoenix Palace smiled faintly. "Ha ha! Everyone present, in my opinion, if you see the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan in the future, you'd better avoid them. It's best if you don't spar with them. If you lose, you'll be humiliated and killed. If you win, their older generation will immediately rush over to kill you." Lu Ming laughed out loud. His tone was full of sarcasm. "That's right. In my opinion, the younger generation of the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan should stay at home and not come out. They can't afford to lose." Mu Qingxue added. The Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan's faces darkened. "Kid, hand over that wing, and we'll forget about what happened today." At that moment, an expert from the Golden Crow clan stepped forward and looked at Lu Ming with his golden eyes. "What a joke. That's also my spoils of war. I'll roast that Golden Crow wing tonight. It must be delicious," Lu Ming said faintly. He was upset, extremely upset. This was an unfair battle. Just as he had said, if he had lost, he would have been killed by the other party. However, the other party's older generation directly intervened and saved the 6th Golden Crow Prince and Wan Tianbing. Now, they were asking for his spoils of war. How could Lu Ming hand it over? "How dare you? You're courting death." All the experts from the Golden Crow clan stepped forward with murderous intent. Their eyes were cold as they closed in on Lu Ming. Roar, in the sky, the sound of dragons and elephants could be heard. Long Chin stepped on the void and came over. Behind him were the experts from the Divine Elephant Clan. "Does the Divine Elephant Clan want to interfere too?" An expert from the Golden Crow clan said with a serious look in his eyes. The Divine Elephant Clan was extremely powerful. Even the Golden Crow clan had to be wary of them. "Nonsense." Long Chen's answer was simple, but it showed his attitude. Bam! Bam! The experts from the Phoenix Palace stepped on the void and stood in front of Lu Ming. The experts from the 4 sides began to confront each other. The other experts around them watched excitedly. Were the 4 forces going to fight today? "Elder, Lu Ming is so talented that he's worthy of our friendship. Moreover, Lu Ming and I are old friends." Yi Dongfang transmitted his voice to an expert from the Thunder God sect. The eyes of the expert from the Thunder God sect flickered. He nodded and transmitted his voice to the other experts from the Thunder God sect. Then lightning flashed and several elders from the Thunder God sect appeared near the experts from the Wan clan. A terrifying aura pressed down on the Wan clan. "Wan clan, Golden Crow clan, you've gone too far today," an elder from the Thunder God sect said. This made the faces of the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan turn even uglier. "The Thunder God sect wants to interfere too?" An expert from the Wan clan said. "A battle between the younger generation is a matter for the younger generation. If there is no competition between the geniuses, how can they grow? The older generation is not allowed to interfere. This is an unwritten rule in the martial arts world. If everyone is like you, how can the younger generation dare to go out and train? If the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan can do this, then the other forces can do the same. The younger generation will be slaughtered by the older generation." An elder from the Thunder God sect said. Although the voice of the elder from the Thunder God sect was calm, it was filled with killing intent. If the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan can do this, then the other forces can do the same. Unless the disciples of the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan join forces in the future, they will be killed too. Without the addition of the younger generation, any force will be destroyed. The faces of the experts from the Wan clan and the Golden Crow clan turned gloomy. All right, let's forget about today's matter. An expert from the Wan clan waved his sleeves and looked coldly at Lu Ming. Don't think that you can dominate the younger generation after defeating Wan Tianbing and the sixth prince of the Golden Crow clan. Those great saint sky prides from the ancient moon, holy ground, have gone to the celestial city. However, they will be back soon. At that time, my Wan clan will kill you. Chapter 17:65. Although the remaining Golden Crows were extremely unwilling and wanted to take back the sixth prince's wings, it was impossible for them to do so on their own. Lu Ming, the previous princes of the Golden Crows, are also returning from Celestial City. If you dare to do anything to humiliate the Golden Crows, you will definitely die. An elite from the Golden Crows said coldly. Then he led the rest of the Golden Crows away, turning into rays of sword light and leaving the place. Of course, what he meant by humiliating the Golden Crows was the roasted wings that Lu Ming had mentioned before. In the blink of an eye, the Wan family and the Golden Crows had all left and disappeared without a trace. The battle had ended just like that. However, Lu Ming's name would definitely resound throughout the ancient Moon Holy Land. Lu Ming, long time no see. You've become stronger. You're indeed the number one in the divine ruins. Long Chin stepped on the air and said with a smile, "Thank you." Lu Ming cupped his fists at Long Chin. Then he bowed to the elites of Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and Thunder God Sect. Lu Ming thanks all of you for your help. Lu Ming will remember this kindness in his heart. Haha, nephew Lu Ming. You don't have to be so polite. The actions of the Wan family and the Golden Crows were truly despicable. We just couldn't stand it. An old man from the Thunder God Sect laughed out loud, appearing rather heroic. Lu Ming, let's go and have a drink. Yi Dong Fong stepped over. All right, let's go together. It's my treat today. Lu Ming nodded with a smile. You young people can have a gathering. We old men won't get involved. The elder from Thunder God Sect smiled. Then he and the others from Thunder God Sect flashed and left the place. You guys go back first. Long Chin ordered the elites of Divine Elephant Sect. Clearly, Long Chen's status in Divine Elephant Sect was not low. The cultivators of the Divine Elephant Sect nodded and left. Finally, the cultivators of the Phoenix Palace left as well. In a bustling gathering place, in a bustling restaurant, Lu Ming, Long Chin, Huang Ling, Mu Qingxue, Yi Dongfang, and Su Ran sat around a table. The table was already filled with spirit wine and delicacies. Everyone toasted each other and ate to their heart's content. Lu Ming, it's been 7 or 8 years since we parted on the Godly Ruins continent. Long Chin drank a few cups in a row and sighed. He had chosen to join the Divine Dragon Valley, just like Lu Ming, but he was captured by the Southern Divine Palace in the Divine Ruins continent and imprisoned for almost 2 years. In the end, he was rescued by a peerless overlord from the Divine Elephant Sect and became his disciple. Now he was respected in the Divine Elephant Sect. Actually, it's not like we haven't seen each other for 7 or 8 years. Later on, I returned to the ruins of God and saw you being taken away by the experts of the Divine Elephant Sect. Lu Ming said with a smile. You were there as well. Long Chen was stunned. Yes. Lu Ming nodded and briefly explained how he had snuck into the Southern Divine Palace to save Long Chen. Thank you. Long Chen raised his cup, his eyes filled with gratitude. Haha, you don't have to thank me. Fortunately, there was an overlord from the Divine Elephant Sect. Otherwise, with my cultivation back then, I wouldn't have been able to save you. Lu Ming smiled. The others were also surprised. They didn't expect Lu Ming and Long Chin to come from the same place. At this time, Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. Then, a light flashed between his eyebrows and bubbles appeared on Lu Ming's shoulder. Damn, Lu Ming, stinky Lu Ming, you keep me in the mountain river diagram every day while you eat and drink here. Chirp, chirp. Bubbles came out and muttered unhappily. Then, she grabbed a wine pot and gulped down a few mouthfuls. Her pink face immediately turned even redder. Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the others were stunned when they saw Lu Ming let out a little girl of 2 or 3 years old. Lu Ming, it's been many years since we last met. I didn't expect you to have a child. Congratulations. Long Chen picked up a cup of wine and drank it in one gulp. What? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Lu Ming, so you already have a child. Huang Ling stared at Lu Ming with wide eyes and then at Bubbles. The more she looked at the two, the more she felt that they were alike. A trace of disappointment flashed in the depths of her eyes. Wow, Huang Ling is going to cry now. But Lu Ming, your daughter is so cute. Come, let Andy hug her. Mu Qingxue walked over and wanted to hug Bubbles. No. Bubbles shook her head like a rattle drum and jumped onto Lu Ming. She hugged Lu Ming's neck and hung onto Lu Ming's body tightly. You've misunderstood. She's not my daughter, Lu Ming said speechlessly. Not your daughter? Don't quibble. I think she really looks like you. Mu Qingxue obviously didn't believe it. To be honest, Bubbles and Lu Ming did look somewhat similar. That was because when Bubbles transformed, she subconsciously looked like Lu Ming. Naturally, there would be some resemblance. She's really not. Her name is Bubbles. Her original form is a divine beast, not a human. You guys sense it carefully. Lu Ming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He could only explain. Everyone sensed it and found that Bubbles wasn't human. She was emitting the aura of a divine beast. Of course, after Bubbles transformed, they couldn't sense what kind of divine beast she was. Oh, she's really a divine beast, Mu Qingxue muttered, while Huang Ling inexplicably heaved a sigh of relief. It's a misunderstanding. Let's drink. Long Chin smiled awkwardly. Everyone clinked their cups continuously. The atmosphere was lively. Lu Ming, you've offended the Golden Crow clan and the Wan family today. You still have to be careful. Although they were forced by us today and their elders can't make a move, there are stronger sky prides from the two forces. Soon, they will return from Celestial City. Yi Dongfang said. Long Chen, Huang Ling, and Mu Qingxue's faces froze. That's right. Those sky prides are almost all above the Great Sage Realm. They're very terrifying. Huang Ling's face was also a little solemn. Celestial City? Why are those people in Celestial City? Lu Ming was puzzled. It was the first time he had heard of Celestial City. Lu Ming, there are 9 great holy lands in the land of Yuan Mountain. Ancient Moon Holy Land is one of them, but it's not too strong. Celestial City is also one of the 9 great holy lands. It's the leader of the 9 great holy lands. Long Chen explained. Lu Ming's heart moved. Celestial City was the leader of the 9 great holy lands. Celestial City is vast and boundless. Legend has it that it was built by the ancient Celestial Emperor. In Celestial City, there are many powerful forces that are more terrifying than ancient Moon Holy Land. About a year ago, there was news from Celestial City that a great emperor came forward to establish a sacred courtyard of Yuan Mountain. He summoned all the sky prides in the land of Yuan Mountain to cultivate. All the sky prides in the land of Yuan Mountain will enter, and there will be a great emperor personally preaching. This is a true great emperor, and there's more than one of them. When this news came out, the entire land of Yuan Mountain was shaken. Many powerful sky prides took the lead and rushed to Celestial City. I heard that the Celestial City is gathering. Long Chen explained. Celestial Emperor? A true great emperor? Lu Ming was puzzled. He heard Long Chen's words, and it was a little strange.